Hello everyone. Today, a very interesting story awaits you. And before it starts, I would like to ask you to like this video and subscribe to the channel. The story begins with a girl trying to wake up her older brother. When he finally opened his eyes, she said that the guy was going to report to the captain, and it was already so late. Seeing his sister in front of him, the young man froze in shock and could not believe his eyes. After which he rushed to hug her, asking why she had not come to him in his dreams before. Juju couldn't understand why he had such a strange reaction. The young man continued to lament that she had been dead for 3 whole years, and he missed her very much. The little girl abruptly pushed him away from her and asked what kind of nonsense he was talking about, who was here for 3 years already, since he died. The guy wondered that he felt the warmth of his body. Was it really a ghost? What was happening? The girl looked at him angrily and said that she asked him not to get carried away with stupid cartoons at night. Why doesn't he listen to her? Now, he is dreaming about something incomprehensible. Chin Feng began to look around in order to understand where he was. Then he paid attention to the date and time, and it dawned on him that this was 3 years ago, 3 days before the Jew accident. Then he suddenly felt a severe headache, and some strange pictures began to appear before his eyes. Our hero lives in a world ruled by elemental forces. He is very dangerous, as there are furious and uncontrollable demons everywhere. Human weapons are completely useless against them, and the people had to hide in the only base city to stay alive. But even this place cannot protect everyone from the Star Beast. Humanity is halfway to extinction. Being on the verge of life and death, people found a way to harness the power of the elements in an ancient relic. Those who could use them called themselves elementalists. They can control wind, fire, lightning, and thunder. They are even capable of fighting not only demons, but also star giants. From that moment on, the world was engulfed by a previously unknown force. It dawned on the young man that this was not his world. He was in a parallel universe. My sister didn't understand what kind of nonsense he was talking about. We need to finally come to our senses. If he doesn't report to the captain, there will be trouble. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door and an angry voice asked if the brother and sister were at home. Let them open it to him immediately. Chan asked why they were so busy that they didn't even show up to the meeting. How do they think the street will know that they are still alive? There is no need to even try to say that they did not know about this. Where is Sin Feng anyway? Juju muttered in confusion that brother was about to leave, but why was he even here? The man was indignant that she had the audacity to ask. If he had appeared, then why would he come here at such a time? They say they don't need a security code or they want to be kicked out of town. In general, he came to tell them to report to the guard in 3 days. It was their turn to go on a week of patrol. Our hero exclaimed why so suddenly. The captain explained that many animals had appeared recently, so the higher authorities decided to increase patrolling. Moreover, Chi Li, who was taking care of them, was attacked by a demonic panther yesterday. The young man was stunned that their relative also existed in this world. In another dimension, she died in an accident. She was hit by a panther car. Why are the events that happened in the 2 worlds so similar? The man continued to say that according to her will, the entire pension was left to him. This is Auntie's last wish. Let them be careful when they go on a mission. The young man wondered whether Jew of this world would be in danger. They are very close, despite the fact that they are not even siblings. He had already lost her in the previous world, but he would never allow it to happen in this world. It is necessary to prevent something from happening again. So I asked if the captain could make an exception. Let him allow him to go on this task himself. He can patrol alone for 2 whole weeks. Chan replied that this would not work. Service is the duty of those who live in the city. No one can refuse. These are the rules. The base has a limited supply of cities and does not keep useless people. The man still couldn't close his mouth, and this was already starting to really strain the young man. But suddenly the captain said that if the guy wants to protect his sister, let her be given citizen status. Citizens can only go on patrol after they are 18 years old. Sin asked what he must do for her to receive this status. The captain began to explain that you can get points. For example, hunting animals or capturing fugitives. If they can kill the demonic beast, that will be even better. They give you much more points for it. But the easiest and fastest way is to pay 10 million coins. She will immediately be added to the list of citizens. The guys were shocked by such a fabulous figure since, Of course, they did not have such an amount. The man added that in this world of chaos, the strongest set the rules. It is better to have at least these than to live without them at all. The guy thought to himself that he only had a few thousand coins and he was not an elementalist. What should he do to protect his sister? As he left, Chan muttered that he would become the strongest and make Ju a citizen. They don't have to spend their entire lives patrolling. He would also like to become like this, but he is not talented enough. The little one shed a tear and whispered, "What if the same thing happened to her during the patrol as happened to her aunt?" Her brother called her stupid and told her to stop thinking about such things because he would protect her. As the captain said, the guy lives in a world where strength comes first. Only by becoming an elementalist will he be able to protect the girl. And in general, where is his system because the young man is a time traveler? A voice immediately rang out, saying that the system had detected the owner's strong desire. Divine Level Elementalist Training Plan activated. The young man was glad that he had a chance to turn the tide of events in his favor. Thanks to this, the whole world will be in his hands. Our hero went to a parallel universe, teeming with furious and uncontrollable monsters. A world where elementalists are most respected. After all, only the powerful can fight these monsters. But people who have the talent to subjugate the elements are very rare. Therefore, if such a person appears, the government will allocate resources and attention to him from an early age. Now the young man has a chance to become an elementalist. This opportunity should never be missed. After which the young man pointed his finger at the system and said that he should start his show already. An automatic scan immediately began, which revealed that the owner did not have the talent to become the strongest. The guy got angry and exclaimed that this was some kind of nonsense. He simply has to have it, because sin cannot remain a refugee. After which the system announced that it had a gift for a beginner, namely the elevation of the talent of the wind element. Then began the transformation and elevation of the talent to a superior level. Our hero was very pleased, because this was a pretty good gift to start with. He knows that the man who owns the base city is at the genius level, and most of the elementalists in this universe are at the ordinary level. There are only 7 of those who are excellent. They are the only 9-star elementalists on Earth, the best of the best and true rulers. Feng mastered the method of cultivating the power of the elements and gained a new skill, namely absorbing the cores of beasts and demons. Plus, he immediately received another gift, the core of a 4th-level wind elemental beast. This is the source of the demon's power. Until now, they have not been studied properly, so without the skill, you cannot simply pick them up and absorb them, as it is dangerous. But since our hero has received an excellent level, in theory, he can absorb it without any problems. In 3 days, his sister will go to patrol the city, but now he will not be able to protect her with his skill and without strength, so he decided to accept the core. The reaction was immediate. The system reported that he had successfully entered the late stage of the strong body. The guy was delighted that he was transferred there at once. Thanks to this skill, he can immediately absorb cores and improve the elements. I wonder when the level reaches 100% whether he will be given the God Seal and become a 1-star Wind Master. The system immediately reported that a divine level training mission had been opened. The young man clarified whether there would be a reward. A board appeared with 3 difficulty levels, each of which had different rewards. At the high level, there were the most tempting prizes, namely the Object Storage Ring and the Lightning Elemental Beast Core. A 4th-level Beast Core can immediately increase to 84% if we take the wind element as an example. The fastest way is to buy a core, but it can be purchased on the market for about 100,000 coins. Auntie's pension is only 50,000 coins. How can it be? Maybe just choose a low difficulty level. The system was already tired of waiting for him to choose, so the countdown began. The young man immediately exclaimed that he was choosing high difficulty. An hour later, our hero came to the city square where the city hall was located. The guy has lived here for so long, but this is his first time coming here. But if you want to get a promotion, then you need to go there. If he becomes a citizen, he will be given an allowance, which he has heard is very generous. As soon as he has money, he can buy the Beast Core and complete the system task. He was immediately greeted by the secretary whose name is Xiao Liu, and she asked him what brought him to this place. When the young man said that he wanted to apply for a status upgrade, the girl explained that this could be done in Windows 1 and 2, and the promotion itself takes place in Windows 3. The young man asked, what about the promotion of people in power in this city? Saya wondered if he was too young for this. This is a privileged class, the equivalent of a medieval cavalryman, a minor nobleman, not to mention that ordinary people should greet and salute them. They say that even murder is easily punished and not led to death, after which she bowed, addressed him as His Excellency, and told him to go to the VIP room. The guy didn't understand why she suddenly spoke differently. The director of the promotion department, Van Chen, was sitting there and asked if something had happened. The girl explained that Mr. Chin Feng wants to be promoted to citizen status. The man was surprised that he was so young and already wanted to become a full citizen. I thought to myself that he was dressed quite simply, probably not from a rich family. Perhaps he has good physical strength. Those who rise to power are usually rich and powerful. But if a person has a strong body, then he is the future master of the elements. Then he asked if he could find out what class of citizen he wanted to get. Our hero was surprised that there was a division there. Saya explained that the initial stage of a strong body receives a promotion to first class and an allowance of 10,000 coins. At the middle stage, 20,000. At the late stage, promotion to third with benefits, 30,000. The guy asked whether it would be possible to receive benefits immediately after promotion. The man replied that, of course. Let him show them what he can do. The young man immediately demonstrated control of the wind element. This is a strong wind body in the initial stage. The director thought to himself that this guy had truly advanced to the next level with his abilities. After which, he said that he would issue a first-class ticket with a payment of 10,000. Sin asked if he could get another 20 if he was promoted to second class. Van replied that, of course. But for this, he needs to reach the middle stage of a strong body. The young man snorted and said to look at him. After which, he demonstrated the power of the wind element. The man was shocked and exclaimed that he would immediately be promoted to second class. Liu thought to herself that this guy is not only handsome, but also how much power he has. He is the best man she knows. But the young man told the director not to rush, but to immediately promote him to third. Qian exclaimed that this simply cannot be. He sees an elemental wave in front of you, and this is the late stage of the poetry of a strong body. How is this possible? Because he is so young and has such power. The girl admired how handsome he was. His talent must be 1 in a million. After which, they came to the conclusion that Sin will definitely become a big, important shot in the future. After some time, the director handed him a citizen's identification card, and also a bank card that already has 60,000 coins. This is his allowance for promotion. The guy thought to himself, great, he finally has the money to buy the beast cores and complete the task. The man continued that there was also a gift for him from the government, a telephone. There are no restrictions on calls, and it is already linked to his ID card. The thought flashed through the young man's mind that he remembered a time when cell phones were a luxury that the average citizen could not afford. After which he said that since his work had already come to an end, then perhaps he would go. City Hall employees escorted him to the exit and thought that this guy was not at all simple. The director ordered that the next time he comes, no matter what business, let the secretary immediately take him straight to the VIP room, and Qian will greet him personally. The girl replied that she understood everything and asked if the boss could give him Master Feng's phone number because he is so handsome. But Van said that there is no need to waste your time. They are not destined to be together. A talent like this guy's, their small town won't be able to contain it. Its future stage will be the whole world. After a while, the young man thought that for 100,000 coins, he could buy the core of a second-level wind beast. This means that after its absorption, the highest level system task will be completed. Immediately, divine absorption was activated, and the young man reached the level of the wind element 100%. The promotion task was announced to be completed. The owner is rewarded with a ring for storing objects. Sin marveled that there was so much space inside that he could fit an entire building. Such rings from the market cannot be compared with this. Next, a reward was received for the elevation of the elements of lightning. The download was successful. As a reward, the young man was given a level 4 lightning elemental core. Our hero noted that it was simply wonderful. Now with this, he can absorb the cores of lightning elemental beasts. Therefore, the young man immediately absorbed him, and divine absorption was activated. He now had a late-stage strong body, wind element level 100%, and lightning element level 85%. Typically, an elementalist's strength is around 100 points, but he has as much as 243. It seems that the more elements, the more strength a person has. I wonder how many points he will have if he masters another third element. Can he reach the level of a 1-star elementalist? Next, general training missions opened for him. You need to raise the level of the lightning element to unlock a new element, ice. There is no time limit for this mission. Sin thought that great, if he unlocked the element of ice, he would have 3, while others only have 1. In the future, he will become stronger than all 9 stars. Then I called my little sister to celebrate. He told her not to cook because her brother was inviting her to a restaurant. While devouring a dish at the establishment, the girl said that this place was super expensive. It's too stupid to waste that kind of money on food. The young man asked whether this was expensive for a citizen. Soon he will make her a full-fledged citizen of Yunnan. The little girl stated that these were his stupid jokes again. Even rich people cannot achieve this status, not like them. But the guy replied that he was not joking. She no longer needs to go to work, he will take care of it himself. The main channel of the base city suddenly appeared, where it was reported that there was good news. Yesterday, Lin Tianyan was recognized as the first genius of the younger generation. He was successfully promoted to a 1-star ice elementalist. Our hero noted that this name seems familiar to him. To achieve this at 24 years old seems very cool. Ju replied that, of course. Many masters receive their promotion between the ages of 40 and 50. Captain Chan is 47 years old and still stuck in the wind. The young man was very surprised that he was so old, since he thought that he was no more than 30. The sister added that strongmen and elementalists live longer than ordinary people, which is why they look young. She had heard that some could even live to be 300 years old, after which she said that they were distracted. But her brother wanted to tell her something. The guy said he didn't make too much money, but was now a citizen. The sister did not expect this at all, so she was delighted and asked how he managed to get it. Our hero replied that she didn't need to know that. The only thing is that her brother is very strong and cool. The girl burst into tears and rushed to hug him, saying that this was very cool. Sin didn't understand why she was crying, so he said there was no need to worry. Let him go and quit his job tomorrow. Now he will take care of it. The girl replied that then she would now cook delicious food for him every day. Then she muttered that he says such grandiose things, perhaps he perceives him as his wife. The guy replied that there was no need to talk nonsense. Let him eat faster. If he wants to try something else, then let him talk and don't be shy. Her little brother will feed her today. After some time, the baby fell asleep, and the young man carried her home in his arms. In her sleep, she muttered that he was even more powerful than this Lin Tianyan. The young man was touched that she continued to admire him even in her sleep. It suddenly dawned on him why the man's name seemed familiar to him. This is Lin Saiwan's elder brother from another world. He was the same driver who killed Juju, or rather the killer. This accident was not accidental. Some witnesses saw that he was driving specifically to kill Juju. Surveillance cameras on the street also recorded everything. After this incident, our hero wanted to get the video and achieve justice. But the police department said that the materials were destroyed for no reason and he was simply kicked out. Witnesses also refused to testify in fear, accusing Lin of fictitiously beating someone. The thing is that his family was rich and very influential, so the sister's case was closed, and the young man himself was acquitted and released. But Sin could not come to terms with this and was constantly looking for evidence against him. Also at that time, Saiwan had an older brother who was studying abroad, Lin Tianyan. The guy didn't find any connection between his sister and this guy. It felt like there was some secret in the Lin family and Ju was killed on purpose. But now it doesn't matter anymore. The important thing is that if he appeared in this world, then Saiwan will also show up soon. In 2 days, there will be the date of death of her sister in her past life. He needs to become a strong elementalist as soon as possible, before the girl is attacked. The next day, in the city square, the young man demonstrated his abilities and asked if they missed him much. The director admired that his wind technique was amazing. Only a day has passed and he has become many times stronger. What kind of black magic is this? The girl was surprised that at 17 years old he had such strength. She heard that the owner of the base city was only able to achieve such perfection at the age of 19. The man was of the same opinion that this young man could achieve more than their master in the future. Sin thought to himself that in just one night of training, he had entered the strongest wind elemental body. Ordinary guys cannot reach this level in 2-3 years. Then he told the director to help him rise to the 4th level of power. The man replied that it was good and immediately gave an order to his secretary. Already in the office, the guy said that this time he wanted to ask for help. Van exclaimed that if he needed anything, he should just say it. If he can help, he will do it in the best possible way. Feng explained that he has a younger brother named Chin Mu. He will come to him today from another base city. Can he get a refugee certificate for him in advance, or should the guy do it himself? The director laughed and replied that this was the simplest thing. He doesn't have to show up at City Hall to do this. They can apply for a certificate right now. Suddenly, a notification came to the phone that 40,000 coins had been credited to the young man's card, after which he was informed that his promotion and certificate for his brother were ready. Our hero thanked them in return. I thought to myself that Tyne Yun is now the center of attention. If Sin shows up, he is afraid that he will put his sister in even greater danger. Therefore, he told the guys that he prefers to behave more reservedly and modestly, so please don't tell the whole world about his strength. The employees promised to keep it secret. The guy thanked them for their work and said that we'll see you again. After some time, a young man entered their office and asked if the director of Van was there. The man looked at him and asked in surprise why Mr. Sin Feng came back. But the guy replied that he was his younger brother. Kunmu. Chien muttered in shock that they looked exactly the same. The young man replied that they were twins, so it was not surprising that they looked the same. The director thought to himself that this is very strange. Wasn't he just dressing up to amuse them? Van asked if he could ask why Mr. Sinmu came to them. The young man replied that the fact is that he told his brother that he wanted to live in their city, and Feng took it upon himself to give him a refugee certificate. After which the young man abruptly threw him on the table and shouted what kind of refugee he was. Do they really want him to lose his authority? So let them raise him to the 4th level of power now. City Hall employees were amazed that this was a perfect technique of strong lightning. The young man asked if they really believed that, as Feng's brother, he would have absolutely no powers. The director thought to himself that it was recognized all over the world that it was impossible to have several elements in one body. One controls the wind and the other controls lightning. They cannot possibly be the same person. When the man asked for forgiveness for being wrong, the guy exclaimed, "Then why are they still standing still? Let them do their job as soon as possible." The man immediately started chattering that he should wait a little. Now they will do everything. After a short period of time, he was informed that his advance was complete. Here is his level 4 citizen card and exclusive phone number. He immediately received a notification that a total of 100,000 coins had been credited to his account, after which the young man said that he had to go, and with that he said goodbye to them. The guys shouted after him to come again. The secretary muttered that she didn't think there would be anyone else as powerful as Mr. Feng. The man replied that this was true. He doesn't know what their parents did in a past life, but they gave birth to 2 wonderful sons. After some time, our hero was thinking about spending money left and right. Those 100,000 that he worked so hard for simply disappeared in the blink of an eye. Now the lightning element level is 93%, while it only absorbs purchased cores. The young man then absorbed the core he had just acquired and shouted that he had completed another task. A system notification immediately appeared indicating that everything was successful. She congratulates the owner on the successful completion of the task. The reward is the elevation of the element of ice. After this, the elements of wind and lightning became elementalist level, and the element of ice became genius level. Combat Power Index 324 points. The young man wondered how the element of ice could be of genius level. The system explained that initially the talent for it was only 0.5. This makes it more difficult to improve than wind and lightning. This level is also quite rare. The owner has awakened a new rank and receives a reward for this, the core of an ice element beast. After absorption, the guy's combat power increased to 417 points, and the combat power of a 1-star elementalist to 500. Among them, there is no one who can become a worthy opponent for him. Even if the day after tomorrow, while on patrol, the sister meets a monster, he is confident that he will be able to protect her. For now, there is Lin Xuan to worry about. Suddenly, an alert appeared that a God-level mission was available. You need to enter the testing room and complete the task. When choosing a difficult task, the elemental level is reduced to a late stage. If the level is difficult, it remains the same. If the mission is completed successfully, he will receive rewards. Death is considered mission failure. Our hero was indignant at how the system could allow its own master to die. She immediately reminded that the dead can be resurrected. 3 attempts are given to complete the mission. If the owner resorts to using an elementalist-level element, he will be immediately disqualified. The young man thought that even if he could be resurrected, it would still be scary. But if he doesn't agree now, then there is a possibility that he will no longer be able to accept this challenge. So I decided that if they didn't try, they wouldn't know. Then he shouted that he was taking part in the mission. A bonus for the owner is God-level combat techniques. Moving to the test map, the world of Fiery Hell, will begin in 5 seconds. A moment later, the young man found himself in another reality and stated that apparently this was a fiery hell. Paying attention to some creature, the guy asked what it was. The system explained that it was a ghost monster in the initial stage of a strong body. The young man noted that it turns out that these fireballs are called fire spirits. He doesn't think they are dangerous and decided to check it out. This is the first level crystalline core. It should not be swallowed. The system will restore 50,000 coins. Our hero was amazed that you can also get money for this. Simply excellent. This is exactly what he lacks now. Now he will earn some money. Then he started catching fireballs. The God-level combat skills that the system has given are incredible. The young man felt as if he had decades of combat experience behind him. Having formed a considerable number of spheres, Feng exclaimed that becoming rich was much easier than he thought. But suddenly, a powerful stream of fire appeared, which hit right where the guy was standing. It could have killed him. It's good that he jumped away in time, because he would have already fried like a chicken. At the same instant, it was as if the ground was gone from under his feet, and our hero fell down the cliff. Sin lay there and thought that this was just terrible. Everywhere you go, they try to kill you. In such a place you can't fly in the clouds. Well, at least you didn't fall into lava, that's good. But when the young man looked back, he saw a huge demonic beast. Immediately a system alert appeared that its name was a ferocious boar. Level 6, initial stage with 1 star. Very dangerous. The probability of defeating the beast is 40%. The guy was horrified that his strength was exactly the same as that of an initial stage elementalist with 1 star. The system notified that the divine level test had begun. The task is to track and kill a wild boar in 10 minutes. Our hero tried as hard as he could to run away from him and shouted that this was some kind of joke or something. How they will order him to fight him. Everything is very bad. Can he even stand it for 10 minutes? He doesn't even have the opportunity to hide from him. The demonic beast stopped abruptly and turned around to see where the young man had gone. Feng began to run in the opposite direction and lament that this machine is very fast. Is he really capable of participating in this at his level? One thing was pleasing. This little pig had a rather slow reaction to everything. If not for this, the young man would have lasted no more than 3 minutes and died immediately. But the task is not just to hold out. The mission may fail, but somehow you don't want to be left without a reward. Immediately, a powerful stream of fire almost hit him again. It was hot. He almost forgot about it. You need to be careful. These fiery emissions can kill even a 1-star elementalist, but fortunately they do not flare up regularly. Then an idea came to his mind. Therefore, he began to wait for the boar to run closer to him. Taking advantage of his weak reaction, the young man simply pushed away from him and ended up on the other side. According to his observations, the next emission should flare up in just a couple of seconds. Therefore, he immediately began to piss off the demonic beast, run back and forth and shout that he is a stupid pig. Of course, this infuriated the otherworldly creature, and it began to rush towards him. Literally, a moment later, a stream of fire burst out of the ground and struck the monster. The young man was glad that he really fell for it. After its destruction, a 6th-level crystalline core appeared. The system advised that it should not be swallowed. She recovers 5 million coins. It was then announced that the test was successful. The guy receives 1 ice elemental beast core, as well as a 1st-level genetic preparation. plus 1 fragment of the seal of the ice god. The young man did not waste time and immediately decided to absorb the resulting core. After activating divine absorption, the ice element also reached the elementalist level. He also now has a genetic drug. He remembers that it is a kind of medicine extracted from animal nuclei. Many people who do not have talents accept them and instantly become all-powerful warriors, gaining enormous strength and great status. There are 4 levels of such warriors: ordinary, strong, royal level, and highest. Initially, a person corresponds to the first level of a genetic warrior, after which he moves to the second. Then there is a transition to the third level, and at the very end, complete perfection awaits. True, all genetic drugs on the market have strong side effects, and if they work, the person will die. The higher the level, the greater the chance of dying. The system immediately explained that this is a first-level potion, which is an ideal enhancement, without side effects. Then she showed the prices for it. The guy noted that it was the same as conventional drugs on the market, but without side effects. Excellent value for money. Together with him, he and his sister can become 4th-class warriors without any risk. Ju will be safer if, in addition to his protection, she herself is quite strong. Why did I ask to clarify why there is such a small selection? The system responded that the store would gradually open rarer items according to the owner's improvement. Sin remembers that when her sister took the elemental test, she had a chance of 2 elemental abilities. There is an element of ice with an indicator of 0.5 and some unknown one that can awaken. It is said that there are only 3 cases of unknown elements in the world. Unfortunately, the exact properties will never be known until it manifests itself. If you think like that, then little sister in the future may become like him, namely an elementalist. In general, stop thinking about it. You can just buy a genetic drug for her. Then, he told the system to recycle all the crystal cores. She immediately reported that the operation was successful. The owner received 5.7 million coins. The guy was delighted that this was an easy way to make money. Then he said that he wanted to buy a 1st and 2nd level drug. 4.5 million coins were written off from him. Our hero immediately drank both mixtures. The combat power index was increased to 570 points. The young man noted that there really are no side effects. At this rate, his index will reach 700 after just a few improvements. It will be the same as that of a mid-level elementalist. The final reward immediately appeared in his hand. Fragment of the seal of the ice god. Can be absorbed, speeds up the fusion process of the ice god seal. The young man noted that it was simply wonderful and immediately devoured it, since he saw no point in delaying it. Seal merging is a long and painful process. Even the strongest take a year to succeed. For others, it takes more than 10 years. And this fragment sped up the process by up to 30% in just a couple of minutes. Suddenly, a notification appeared that the timeout had expired. The owner would be moved out of the fiery hell in 10 seconds. Our hero was surprised that this was all. Finding himself back in his city, the young man was glad that at least he returned alive. The challenge notification for the 2nd Divine Tier challenge has returned, offering even more rewards. Sin noted that they know how to lure him. Such tests are very rare. If he does not take advantage of the opportunity now, then in the future he will regret that he did not do it. If there are more rewards, it means that the task will be more difficult. It is necessary to prepare properly. Therefore, he ran to the weapons store and said that he wanted to buy a kit for a genetic warrior. The seller replied that there was no problem. There is a titanium alloy sword, a high-energy bazooka, and 3 special armor-piercing shells, and also 100 automatic mines with high explosive force. He can sell all this for 200,000 coins. The young man immediately transferred the money to him. After some time, Feng thought that this weapon does not cause much damage to creatures, which is why it is sold so cheaply. But he still considers this to be good preparation, so everything should be fine. I would like to receive awards as soon as possible. Suddenly, the young man had to brake sharply, and he began to fall, screaming that he was scared. Right in front of him was a girl who was about to go to the toilet and did not at all expect to see him in the gateway. The girl immediately screamed that he was some kind of pervert. Let someone come to her aid. Her bodyguard immediately appeared and shouted that he was impudent. How dare anyone peek at Miss Jisi? Now she will show him where the crayfish spend the winter. Then she started shooting. The guy tried to explain that he didn't do anything. How could he know that she was there? But no one listened to him, then shouted for the system to immediately begin the second divine level test. The woman did not understand where she had disappeared so instantly. Can he really run that fast? The girl hissed that she hadn't asked her to keep an eye on everything around her. The security guard replied that she was closely watching the entrance. Who knew that he would fall from above? Chisi screamed that she was about to die of shame. Jiaoqin thought to herself that this was terrible. She is the daughter of the city lord, noble and feminine. This is the first time she has been glassed during something shameful. The girl said that it was the father's fault. Forced her to drink spiritual water to speed up cultivation, but the side effect was so strong that she could no longer hold on. Nobody should know about this at all. Meanwhile, the young man found himself in the lower world. It turns out that he hid in a den of the dead from a mad woman. Right in front of him, he immediately saw a necrotic wild horse, an initial stage level with 1 star. Sin noted that there is no warning from the system, which means he is strong enough to defeat it. Its crystal core can be exchanged for 5 million coins. But suddenly some otherworldly creature appeared and killed the animal with 1 blow. While the guy was in shock that a rank 6 monster was killed with 1 hit, the system announced that the second divine level test had begun. The young man's task was to kill the Skeleton King within 10 minutes. Our hero was taken aback that this was comparable to killing a 1-star elementalist. His weapon is a bloody bone knife. Very dangerous. Probability of victory is only 20%. Our hero noted that the chances this time are even less than last time. Plus, the location is not particularly suitable. But the sword in his hands is of the Yuanvu category. This is made from extremely rare materials combined with secret techniques. It can be used to enhance elemental attacks and greatly increase the power of a master or elementalist. Such pleasure is not cheap, approximately from 100 to 500 million. If the young man manages to get this sword, he will be able to get rich. Then she took out a titanium alloy sword and, with a challenge in her hair, told the otherworldly creature to attack. But there was absolutely no reaction. The Skeleton King continued to deal with the necrotic wild horses. The guy noted that it seemed like they didn't care about him, but okay. For now, you can take advantage of the situation and arrange the battlefield. The Skeleton King will pay him with his life. After which he began to lay out automatic mines with great explosive force. Then he stated that it was excellent. Everything is set. The battlefield is ready. The monster will regret that he underestimated him. Then he picked up a high-energy bazooka and declared that now it was time to get down to the real business. The Skeleton King moved so fast that the projectiles might not have time to catch up with him. Therefore, he decided that it would be easier to hit the one he was hunting, namely the demonic horse. After a powerful explosion, our hero shouted that this was not all. Let him take a few more. Heng noted that the heavy-duty armor-piercing projectile did not leave a scratch on him. This is indeed a very strong monster. In principle, everything was quite expected. When the otherworldly creature rushed to attack him, the young man stated that he managed to catch him. There are only 5 minutes left to kill him. Therefore, all hope lies in mines. After a long series of powerful explosions, the young man looked out and declared that he had finally almost gone deaf. The Skeleton King found himself in a huge crater, and the guy exclaimed that he thought so. His defense is high, but constant damage will destroy it. When the monster tried to attack him, the guy was surprised that he still had the strength to fight, after which our hero began to run around him and strike one after another. The monster was exhausted, so it did not have time to react. The last attack was decisive. The otherworldly creature was destroyed. A notification immediately appeared that he was receiving a level 7 core. The system can recover 10 million coins. Also, a bloody bone knife. Strengthens elemental attacks by 100%. Our hero was completely delighted because 500 million coins is a huge profit. After which he asked the horses for forgiveness because this is their fate and decided to try this knife. In the process, he realized that he did not want to sell it, since with it, he could be much stronger. Having collected a number of crystals, each worth 5 million coins, the young man noted that he had done a great job this time. The system reported that the time was up, the test was over, and moved him back to the city. Looking around, Sin stated that it seemed that those ladies had already left. You can no longer walk down dark alleys alone. The system congratulated the owner on the successful completion of the test and began distributing rewards. A fragment of the seal of the god of wind and the god of ice, as well as the god of lightning and a skill stone. Our hero noted that with the addition of the bone knife, the rewards became very generous. They also gave me some kind of stone that he sees for the first time. The young man immediately absorbed all the seal fragments and the skill stone. Therefore, the Berserker Strike became available to him. Sin was delighted as the wind element reached 41%. Now he has a combat skill. It is rare that anyone below a 3-star elementalist can have it. However, the feeling of absorbing the God Seal fragment and the skill stone was different from what it was before, when the body cells were rearranged when absorbing the core of the beast. But okay, it doesn't matter. He will have time to check it later. Then he ordered the system to restore all crystal cores. The young man immediately received 25 million coins. The next step was to purchase a genetic drug of the 3rd and 4th levels. 13 million were withdrawn from his account. After the takeover, it was announced that his combat power index had risen to 700 points. Feng noted that this drug is really very strong. After which he said that he also wanted to buy a mixture of the 2nd and 3rd levels. He won't be able to be with his sister all the time, so he'll give them to her. The system reported that the owner had the last chance to receive a divine level task. The rewards will be the most generous whether he takes part, but the young man replied that it was not necessary yet. Judging by the latest test, the difficulty increases several times. He will not be able to pass this and also lose all the rewards. We still need to wait and prepare. He also noticed that when calculating strength, the system did not count the presence of weapons. Perhaps this is some kind of mistake. Now it's time to run home. My sister will worry if he comes late. In the refugee area, he heard the captain's voice saying that it was a Fe-47 tank. Titanium alloy coating. The power of the micronuclear reaction S-557. The market price starts from 60 million coins. Those who can afford such a doll are either super rich or master elementalists, whether there are any refugees in their area or not. Then the man started asking someone to take a photo of him next to this candy. The young man carefully asked whose car it was and why it was even there. When the guy was told that when they arrived, she was already standing, the young man noted that he had a bad feeling. The captain thought to himself that Sin's aura had become something different, not the same as before. It's not noticeable at first glance, but it's as if there's a direct whiff of something about him. Has their boy really grown up and become a real man? Meanwhile, our hero got goosebumps. Then everyone present whispered that some young people had left the building. These were genetic warriors. Their swords are made of titanium alloy. How cool is that? Another young man followed them out, and Feng thought he had seen him somewhere before. Suddenly the guy hissed that he was surrounded by a bunch of dogs from the ditch and ordered everyone to leave immediately. Everyone didn't understand who they were. This man is even worse and more terrible than those soldiers with swords. The boy started pointing his finger at him and said in a squeaky voice that it was the city lord. The man immediately removed his hand and said that his fingers might now be cut off. There is no need to poke at everything that catches your eye. This is actually a master elementalist. The only one who can defeat an elementalist is a master elementalist. It's not often that someone can earn the right to hold this title. No matter how rich other people are, no matter what level of advancement they are at, they have no right to the title. Someone present asked how many stars he had. Chan replied that he had the rank of Lord. That's 1 star. The guy couldn't shake the feeling that he had already seen him somewhere. Then it dawned on him that he was in his past world. The young man remembered the day when he stood near the gate and shouted that it was Lin Si-wan who killed his sister. Let him come out immediately. The head of the guard replied that this barking dog was not worthy to see their young master. After which the crowd began beating Sin and trying to remove him from the estate. This man was the head of that gang. He is one of the Lin family. What is happening? Why did these people show up at his house? Then a chill ran down his spine and the thought came to him that maybe they had already killed his sister. The young man immediately ran home to check what was wrong with her. After opening the doors, he shouted to see if Ju was okay. The girl was surprised that he had already come and replied that he was not stealing, but simply had not tasted it. The young man immediately breathed a sigh of relief and asked if someone had just come to them. The little girl exclaimed how he knew. Sin thought to himself that Lin's people had come straight from their house, but he wondered out loud what they needed and why they showed up here. My sister said that they came to pick up the phone. Our hero did not understand what she was talking about. When she went to leave, she found a mobile phone on the road, although at first she thought it was a chocolate bar. The baby waited there for half a day, but no one came for him, so I took him with me. Then people came and took the phone. They also wanted to give 10,000 coins as a token of gratitude, but she refused. But still, she later regretted a little that she refused the incentive, since she could have bought a lot of chocolate. The guy told her not to worry because he had money. I thought to myself that it was all his fault. They were always hungry, but now he would make sure she had a wonderful life. It seems that Lin Xuan lost his cell phone and sent this elementalist just to pick it up, but Juju has already given it away. Will he attack now? After which, our hero asked if she looked at anything on that phone, if there was anything strange. The girl hesitated for a second and then said that before they arrived, an unusual message appeared on the phone. It seems that it was written there, "In 3 days at midnight, a deal on Mount Luohua." The young man muttered that this is the place where all the animals and monsters gather. What is it about this deal that you can't carry it out in the city itself, but you have to go uphill and in the middle of the night? I thought to myself that this message could be the reason for the murder of Ju, and a fool understands that they are trying to hide something. Therefore, Lin Siwan wants to remove it so that it does not get disheveled. When asked if she saw who the SMS came from, the baby replied that it seemed to be from Chu. Why is he asking? It has nothing to do with them anyway. The young man laughed nervously and replied that he was just curious, nothing more. After which he abruptly announced that he and she would soon move to the city center. I thought to myself that now they know where Ju lives and the area is not pleasant. You can't stay here anymore. When his sister objected that living in the center was very expensive, the young man replied that money was not a problem. He also has a surprise for her. Then he handed her his mobile phone. The baby was absolutely delighted because this was the first one in her life. But that was not all. Then he took out genetic preparations and told her that this was also for her. Because I decided to start acting according to the plan, the strong woman, Juju. While the girl was wondering what it was, the brother said to drink 3 at once. Until she does this, she will not understand anything. While his sister was drinking, Sin thought that the day after tomorrow was the day when Ju could die. She must be able to defend herself. The little girl exclaimed in surprise that she felt her body being filled with strong energy. The young man thought to himself that this was not quite what he expected. Then he handed her an iron rod and told her to try to bend it in half. Ju twisted it into a dog and asked what her brother gave her to drink. Feng explained that this is a genetic drug. He can make her into a warrior without any side effects. She is now not just a genetic warrior, but much more powerful than ordinary 3rd-level ones. I thought to myself that then I need to give her a 4th-level drug. Then her combat power should be about 200 points, and no one except the elementalist will be able to harm her. The girl rushed to hug him and exclaimed that this was simply excellent. Our hero couldn't help but notice that she had become stronger. Meanwhile, the head of the Lin 7, Qian Hao, shouted that he could not even keep track of such a small thing. His brother is busy studying now, so he has no time for family squabbles. He thought he could rely on him. This is the first task that he was assigned, and the guy failed it. Completely hopeless. The young man stood silently and did not even know what to say in his defense. Baisu thought to himself that the second son made such a stupid mistake. How could you lose the phone that is used to communicate with Chu Chantun? The man asked if anyone besides her had seen this SMS. The head of the guard noted that although she lives with her brother, when they arrived, the girl was at home alone. The son immediately exclaimed that the phone had been returned. Besides, she is an ordinary refugee. Even if she read the message, she could hardly understand what it meant. The head of the family interrupted him and called him naive. In 2 days, a big event will happen. She will definitely know the truth because of the message she read. The young man retorted that she was an ordinary refugee, and even if she guessed, who would believe her? The father got angry and yelled at him to shut his mouth. How can he even be called his son? Why is the guy not like Tianyan? The young man thought that he was on his own again. Yes, He does not have the talent to be an elementalist, and his future potential is not as good as his brother. But still his son. Why does he treat him with arrogance? Bae-su decided to support him and said that Lin Seo-won is actually very hard-working. He even took a genetic drug, knowing that he might not survive after it. The old man replied to let his brother become the lord of the city and the guy himself an elementalist. They had to make this dangerous deal. If anyone finds out about this, they will be in big trouble. Maybe that girl didn't read the message, but it's a huge risk, so she has to die. The young man immediately replied that he understood everything, and he would definitely sort it out. The head ordered Bae to secretly monitor his son. Let him be protected if something happens. Everything should be quiet and neat so that they don't have any problems in the future. If necessary, let them kill her brother too. After some time, the little girl asked if this suit suited her. Our hero replied that, of course, she looked very good. It is not only beautiful, but also reliable. Made from 1-star monster leather, the protection of this outfit is at a very high level. It will withstand an attack from a level 4 beast. The baby was surprised how such a soft thing could protect. Sin thought to himself that this was terribly expensive and cost him 2.3 million coins. Plus a sword worth $1 million, his small treasury had reached the bottom. Ju asked why he bought a set of armor if they didn't have to go on patrol. The young man replied that he and she were safe. The sister clarified that, didn't he say that she is now a genetic warrior and stronger than everyone else? The guy replied that she was stupid. She has combat power, but no combat experience. How can she be sure that everything will be fine? I thought to myself that with armor and weapons, even 4th-level monsters would not be able to harm my sister. As for him, overnight he was able to improve the seals of the elements of wind and lightning to 11% and ice to 0.5%. But at this rate, it will take him at least 4 days to get 1 star of the elements of wind and lightning. To speed up this process, it is necessary to take the 3rd divine level test. Before the mission, you need to get another Yuanvu level weapon, but it could cost hundreds of millions of coins and he couldn't afford it. Suddenly, the guys heard a heart-rending scream. Someone was yelling why he didn't want to sell it to him. The young man noted that this was coming from the genetic pharmacy. What was going on there? The boys shouted that the market price of the genetic drug was 1.5 million coins. He offers 5 million, but the seller refuses. What's wrong? Let him immediately explain. How dare a man look down on him? Does he really think that he doesn't have enough money, so he can offer 10 times more? The pharmacist objected that it was not that they did not want to sell. The city lord forbade this. If they disobey, they will be severely punished. The boy was completely freaked out, wondering why he even cared that he wanted the drug. Our hero did not understand what kind of people they were and why sales were prohibited. Ju was surprised that he really didn't know. Then she explained that this was Van Xiao, the grandson of the old Lord Yunyan. He cannot become an elementalist, but he does not want to be an ordinary person either. Therefore, the city lord forbade the sale of drugs to him. The young man noted to himself that this guy didn't seem to care about money. This is a great opportunity for him. Meanwhile, the seller was saying that if something happens to him, how can they avoid punishment? The old lord's people are watching him. Suddenly, our hero appeared, who said that he had heard about there and that he wanted to buy a first-class genetic drug. The boy at first exclaimed who he was, but then it dawned on him that he could buy what he needed from him. The man asked if he was sure of what he was doing. The city lord categorically forbade anyone from selling genetic drugs to his lord. He just didn't know about it or was tired of living. Sin thought to himself that he is a 1-star wind elemental master, but he is still stronger. Van exclaimed that he himself was responsible for his actions. No need to worry about it. The uncle replied that his body reacts very sharply to the medicines. The success rate of absorbing the first level of the drug is about 80%, but for him, it is only 50%. If not for his peculiarity, the city lord would not give such an order. For his own safety, he must follow his master's orders. Let the young man drop his idea of potions and not play with his life. Our hero replied that he was not worried about his life. Because its genetic drug has no side effects and its absorption success rate is 100%. The guys were dumbfounded because they didn't think that such a thing existed in this world. Everyone present was no less surprised. After all, the success rate of uptake of the best first-tier genetic drug on the market is only 82%. Feng explained that it took his master many years and a lot of resources to develop this drug. It is a huge amount of work. The boy shouted that money is not a problem. Let him tell how much it costs. When the young man replied that 20 million, the buyers were discouraged. The uncle immediately said that this guy was lying. He only wanted his money. He plays it anyway. The people around him believed that there was something wrong with this drug. He just laughs at Mr. Van. Suddenly, the girl decided to intervene in the conversation and shouted that her brother could not be a liar. My lord just offered that seller 15 million for a genetic drug with side effects. But his brother's medicine does not have such effects, so 20 million is not at all cheap for him. Liu said that the absorption success rate is 100%, and the enhancement effect will work at the same percentage. How can there be such a miracle in the world? Sin replied that otherwise he would not have sold it at that price. Van said that if what the young man said is true, then he agrees to buy this drug for 20 million. But how will Feng prove that it is real? Our hero replied that everything is simple. Before taking the drug, the gentleman will undergo a test to determine whether the drug is rejected by the body, so he will know whether it is true or not. The seller said that they can conduct this test in their store. Please let them follow it. The results will be available soon. After some time, a special apparatus actually showed that the rejection rate was 0. Everyone present believed that this was simply impossible. This should not happen. My uncle decided that there was something wrong with this car. Let them double-check everything a few more times. Later, it was announced that they tested it on 10 different machines, but the result was the same everywhere. The boy asked his uncle to humble himself, because if they continue to take his blood for testing, he will simply die. The man still couldn't believe that his genetic drug was so magical. The young man said that this was all a waste of time. They can test it as much as they want, but the result will be the same. Van shouted that they had checked it more than 10 times already. There were no problems. Can I finally drink it? The man objected that even if it is 100% safe, this does not mean that it will work. The gentleman exclaimed that it was enough that it was completely safe. Whether it will work or not is another question. 20 million for a dream is not that expensive. After which the required amount was transferred to our hero. The young man threw the medicine to him with the words that now this medicine is his. The young man did not waste time and immediately accepted it, after which the power transformation began. When my lord decided to check whether the drug worked, it turned out that it actually became much stronger. If I catch him, his power has become 30, and an ordinary genetic warrior has no more than 15. The drug is truly magical. The young man burst into tears and rushed to hug his uncle, saying that he had finally become a genetic warrior. His dream came true. The man immediately asked our hero for forgiveness for his rudeness, since he was not sure that this would help. Van exclaimed that from now on he would be his brother. Sin is the true god of genetic drugs. Those present immediately began to beg him to sell it to them. It doesn't matter how much it costs. Let him just name the price. The young man said to line up, since the number is limited. It was not he who developed the drug, but his master. Therefore, it has nothing to do with him. The guy is not a god of genetic drugs, so there is no need to call him that. After a while, my sister noted that it was very cool. They just made 200 million. Our hero thought to himself that he could sell potions from the store, but he still had to be more careful and behave with more restraint. This money should be enough to buy Yuanvu level weapons. When the little girl asked where they would go next, the young man replied that there was a store nearby that they needed to go to. They then entered the Yuanchi weapons pavilion. Ju noted that there were a lot of elementalists around. They were immediately greeted by a girl who said welcome and asked if she could help them with anything. Our hero asked why there were so many people around. She replied that today is the day they open the weapons pavilion for Yuanvu betting. These metal boxes were specially manufactured by the pavilion. It's impossible to guess what's inside. Its price is 130 million. Weapons worth from 100 to 500 million are placed inside. Sin stated that the elementalists are tinkering with those boxes, but one can only count on luck. The girl replied that he was so smart, it was simply incredible. Meanwhile, one of those present chose a box and said that he wanted to buy it. Lord Viscount replied that he should pay first and then open it. Once opened, the box cannot be exchanged or returned. The man noted to himself that it looked like this old man was a 2-star elementalist, a real nobleman. 130 million is all the money he has. If he was lucky enough to get a yuanvu with 70% attack boost, he could get rich. After which he transferred money to his account and asked him to help open the box he had chosen. Inside was a fiery weapon that enhances attacks by 50%. The man was horrified that this was one of the worst weapons. Its market price was no more than 100 million coins. The young man looked at the fact that the fat man was unlucky and noted to himself that this was quite risky. But the next elementalist came across an earth spirit weapon, 76% enhancement. Market price is at least 300 million. Our hero only has 200 million. If he can place the bet successfully, he will have a better chance of passing the third divine level test. Suddenly, the system began to notify what exactly was in each of the closed boxes. The young man was shocked at first, but thought that he would now earn a fortune. The sister asked if he really wanted to place a bet. They have only one attempt. If they don't guess right, they will lose 30 million. But the young man replied that there was no need to worry because he knew what to do. He thought to himself that she was right. They only have one try, so he must choose the best box. One of the boxes contained Quancha armor, which increases defense by 73%. It costs about 300 million, but still not what he needs. Meanwhile, people were screaming in frustration because they were seeing terrible boxes. Some people even got weapons for 90 million, not 100. Jews said that there was nothing good about them, so it was better to leave. But the brother objected that there is a good thing in one thing. Let him follow him and see how lucky he is. The sister replied that okay, in any case, this money belongs to him. He has the right to decide what to spend it on. Then he approached the Lord and said that he wanted to buy this particular box. Let him open it. Viscount thought to himself that he had not seen this boy before, but said out loud that the money was up front. When the payment was completed successfully, the man immediately opened it. There was something to do with the wind. Wind weapons are very rare and cost several times more. Even if the gain is less than 50%, it can still be sold for 120 million. The young man said that it was his first time here, so let them tell him where he can check it out. These are boots called Wind Shadow type. Support speed up movement by 100%. Those present were very jealous of him, since he costs at least 500 million or even 600. This is the best yuanvu they have ever seen. The Lord said this kid has incredible luck. He bet the first time and got the best box. The guy thought to himself that he paid 130 million but received 600. I just can't wrap my head around it. Everyone else immediately ran to buy up the remaining boxes. The young man thought to himself that he had found another weapon with 100% effect. We need to get money and return as soon as possible. Then they went towards the exit, and our hero said that they would now go to the military house. This is a public place where genetic warriors and strong body stage masters gather. There they exchange information and assemble teams to hunt animals and other creatures. This house also has secret training rooms, grounds, and even testing rooms that can be used. He then handed his sister a level 4 genetic drug and told her to drink it. The girl immediately said that she felt even stronger. Our hero suggested checking it out. The little girl immediately ran and hit the testing apparatus with all her might. When it turned out that her combat score had reached 199 points, the young man thought to himself that she could defeat the novice elementalist. The little girl stated that on tomorrow's patrol mission, everyone would be shocked by her strength. The young man asked to keep this a secret, since it was impossible for anyone to find out about it. There's no need to ask any questions about this, since she will understand everything herself when the time comes. There is a 3D fighting simulator on the 3rd floor. Why don't she go and practice? If she encountered a beast tomorrow, she would be able to defend herself while he went to the training room. Our hero noted that this room is really good. Great for complex system jobs. Then he remembered the situation with the girl and said that he would never accept assignments in the alleys again. He also has some guesses regarding his skills. He bought a few more level 1 beast cores, so it was time to give it a try. Now I make it fortified with 3 elements, and the level of protection is many times greater than that of 1-star elementalists, but it is still easy to wound. The purchased Yuanvu level weapon is simply excellent. It cuts the fruit like butter. Suddenly, the wound he had inflicted on himself began to heal. Divine Absorption uses the beast's wind energy to transform cells and change the shape of flesh. Feng can not only quickly exalt the elements, but also instantly heal wounds. With such a strong regeneration ability, his strength increased even more. Now our hero is completely ready. Then he turned to the system and said that he wanted to start the third test of the divine level. Next, the activation began, transferring our hero to the map of the polar ice prison. It turned out to be just terribly cold there. Fortunately, his body is hardened by the three elements, otherwise he would have already died from the cold. The temperature problem alone is worth it. The complexity of the task itself is obvious. However, he now has two skills: Divine Absorption and Berserker Strike. With a bloody bone knife and boots, his strength is comparable to that of a well-leveled elementalist, which is very good. Then it seemed to him that someone was coming towards him, so he turned around sharply, but there was no one there. The young woman noticed human footprints in the snow. Is there really anyone there besides him? Suddenly, some otherworldly creature appeared and attacked our hero from behind. It's good that the young man is wearing armor. Otherwise, he would have been killed in a matter of seconds. He wouldn't even have time to blink an eye. It turned out to be an ice phantom. A special feature is icy stealth. Extremely dangerous, less than 5% chance of defeating the enemy. The young man noted that this was the 10th level, just like a beginning 2-star elementalist. Meanwhile, the system reported that the test had begun. The task is to kill the ice phantom in 20 minutes. The guy thought to himself that the chance of victory did not exceed 5%, but they gave him a lot of time. He, of course, knew that some kind of nonsense would be slipped in, but he didn't think that everything would be so bad. The system reminded that this time the rewards are extremely generous. If he kills him, he will be given the Ice Stealth Skill Stone. Sin noted that this is a pretty good thing. You can't buy it in their world. As far as he knows, elementalists cannot master skills until they receive 3 stars. Therefore, with each new skill he masters, he will become stronger than people at the same level. When the system calculated the chance of victory over the enemy, it did not take his weapons into account. Suddenly, the monster disappeared. The young man thought that he couldn't even see traces of his breath. His abilities are very cool. Fang doesn't see him, but the monster sees him very well. You need to be careful. Suddenly, he felt that an otherworldly creature was approaching him at great speed from behind. The young man immediately jumped up and exclaimed that his friend had fallen into his hands. After which he struck with his sword, which allowed him to throw his opponent some distance away from him. Just as the young man was about to strike again, the ice phantom disappeared again. Our hero decided that in such a difficult situation, the previously acquired mines should help him. When the mines around began to explode, the young man stated that it was right on the bull's eye. Feng realized that this was his chance, so he decided to strike with the strongest blow, 100% enhancement of the bloody knife. This is a fight for life and death. Therefore, of the two of them, only one will survive. The young man was very cold, but he managed to get the necessary core. As soon as he put it in his mouth, the divine absorption skill was activated. The young man noted that it was very convenient. Everything is absorbed in a very short period of time. Now you can continue the massacre and defeat this otherworldly creature. Sin struck one after another, and at the same time, the mines he had previously scattered exploded around him. While the monster was disoriented, it was urgent to deliver a frantic explosive blow, increasing the attack by 100%. The monster was cut in half and did not have time to dodge the attack. A level 10 core appeared near him, which can be exchanged for 80 million and an Ice Stealth Skill Stone. The guy immediately absorbed it, and the system reported that the Ice Stealth skill had been unlocked. This is great for attack or surveillance. If he learns to use it correctly, he will become invincible. The system reported that the tests seemed to be successful. The guy receives a fragment of the seal of the god of wind, ice, lightning, and fire, plus the core of a beast of the 4th level of the element of fire. The reward is a bead for cultivating the element of fire. This item is extremely rare and can be consumed. As soon as the young man absorbed it, it was announced that the owner now had abilities in the element of fire. Sin noted that this is simply incredible. Now he can really pump up this element. This means that his strength has increased. Even if there is nothing special in this element, it is still a great success. He then began to absorb all 10 fire elemental cores, as well as a fragment of the seal of the god of ice, lightning, wind, and fire. Now his level was royal. The combat power index reached 900 points. The power index of a 1-star elemental master is 1,000 points. If we take into account the skills, then the strength is the same as that of a 2-star elementalist at the early stage, or even stronger. Plus, he reached the royal level. I wonder if there are levels higher than this. The system reported that there is also an imperial level, a god level, and so on. The owner still has to put in a lot of effort. Feng thought that he probably wouldn't get any new challenges until he became a 2-star elementalist. The system reported that the task was completed, so it will be returned back. The young man asked the system to do a good deed, after which the crystalline core was restored and 80 million were credited to his account. He then noted that it was time to return to the pavilion. There are weapons with 100% enhancement. This is also armor. He lacks protection, so you need to pick him up as soon as possible. After some time, our hero was already listening to people who were discussing that in the morning, some guy grabbed the incredible Yuanvu. Some girl immediately drew attention to him and noted that he was someone's rich son. Looks quite attractive. While the young man was happy that no one had collected that box yet, she asked if it was his first time making a bet. Let the young man better not take this box because more does not mean better. Our hero immediately thought to himself that she was an unusual person, but he was not mistaken in his choice. She is a 1-star water elementalist. She's so smart that she was able to master it at that age. The girl said that at first glance, it became clear to her that he was making a bet for the first time. She will tell him a secret. Usually, armor and similar things are stored in large boxes. The young man thought to himself that this was actually why he came to the pavilion. The girl continued that good Yuanvu are very valuable, and the pavilion is not so generous as to shove them into huge boxes because most people choose it precisely because of their size. So it's rare to find anything truly valuable in these types of things. She knows this as well as anyone. Our hero noted that she seemed to have a lot of experience in this matter. The woman said that he should decide for himself. If she had not spent money here but invested in improving it, she would have achieved more long ago. Unfortunately, I have never been lucky enough to get something worthwhile. Sin replied that you can do it. It all depends on luck. He's always lucky. The girl objected that it was in vain that he had not listened to her. Now he would lie on the floor in tears. Why did he approach Lord Viscount, who exclaimed that this boy had come again? When the girl asked whether his uncle really knew him, the man replied that of course he got the boots with 100% effect. The girl exclaimed that he had already taken the main prize. Did he really hope to get another one? The guy replied that yes, that's exactly what he wanted. The stranger said that luck is just an illusion, so you need to be careful. In addition, it is almost impossible to win twice in a row. Our hero transferred 130 million, after which the process of opening the large box began. Inside was expensive fire armor, which is found very rarely. The girl looked at his card and shouted that it was Yuanvu with 100% effect. While everyone was in shock, the young man thought to himself that this armor was hundreds of times stronger than the armor from the monster. With her, his protection will increase to the skies. The man said that this guy is very lucky. This is the first time in his entire life that he has seen someone pull out 200% Yuanvu in a row. Feng then decided to go to her sister. It's already so late, and they have to go on patrol tomorrow. She must still be training. I wonder if you figured out how everything works there. Suddenly, that girl from the pavilion materialized in front of him. Our hero asked in surprise what happened. She replied that there was no need to worry. She just wanted to ask for something. Let him do him a favor. The young man must help her choose a box since she also wants to try her luck. Our hero asked what would happen to him for this. The girl replied that he was a real lucky guy. If he does her a favor, she will do him a favor. Her name is Liu Yan, and she is a 1-star elementalist and has many connections in this city. The guy muttered that he wasn't sure about the favor, if she had anything more practical. The girl approached him and asked how about this. He'll help her choose a box, and she'll ask him out on a date tonight. Then she whispered in her ear that she had never had a relationship, so he would be the first. The young man was taken aback and thought to himself that all women in this world are really so brave. If anything, she can change her style. Maybe he likes it better this way. Then I tied the ponytail differently. Or maybe the young man likes a modest student or a cheerful maid. Just let him say it, and she will become anyone for him. Judging by his facial expression, he liked the modest student. The guy replied that she persuaded him. 3rd row near the entrance. 7th box from the bottom. If he wants, let him buy." The girl immediately ran for the box and thanked him at the same time. The young man then said that if this turns out to be the worst yuanvu, then there is no need to blame him. The girl replied that she would not. Let him wait here for her. She will come if she wins something good. Our hero tried to say that he had to go, but she didn't listen to him. A moment later, it turned out to be a water weapon with an 86% enhancement, worth at least 300 million. Are there really so many good yuanvu in boxes today? The man generally stopped understanding that such a strange thing was happening in the pavilion today. Liu exclaimed that this handsome guy didn't lie and really helped her. She definitely pays him for all this. Meanwhile, Sin came to the military house. He must find his sister and return home. He has absolutely no time to entertain that woman. Why did he see a live broadcast of Ju fighting with some bully? People were delighted and did not understand where this little girl got such strength. The brother thought to herself that she was very strong and she had never even fought before. Very unexpected. The little girl has amazing fighting skills. She looks pretty impressive. A 3D simulator is when a computer reads the player's height, size, and other parameters to create an identical virtual copy of him. The player controls his copy while in the battle room. In pure combat mode, the opponent's attack, speed, and defense indicators are the same. The winner of the match is determined based on combat skills and experience, and this is a real way to hone your skills. This is the best option for training. Spectators shouted that this baby was incredible. She has been fighting Tao Dao for so long. In terms of hand-to-hand combat skills, he is among the top 10 in the city. Who is she and how does she do it? Our hero thought that his sister was doing a good job. This man must already be a pro in fighting, while Ju is only fighting for the first day, relying only on his talent and instincts. Although her technique is not perfect, there are some things to complain about, but for the first time it is very good. After some time, the girl won a full victory over her opponent. Observers were delighted with her. Now the baby will be their favorite. And when the baby came out into the hall, everyone began to invite her to their groups because they need such people. Ju replied that she had no plans to join anywhere yet, so let them forgive. The guy thought to himself that these mercenaries usually hunt beasts and demons together and sometimes carry out tasks for their bosses. All of their members are genetic warriors and their development is limited. When the girl finally noticed him, the young man said that it was already late, so it was time for them to go home. The little one started chattering that she had heard that there was a 3D combat capsule that could be connected to the global network. Could they buy it? Sin replied that they would discuss this later. Meanwhile, at the Lin Manor, Saiwan was practicing martial arts on his own. The assistant said that it was already late, so the gentleman had better get ready for rest. Sitting down on a chair, the young man asked how things were. Xiao Lu replied that everything was going according to plan. Tomorrow, this Jew will come to the refugee department with a report. She has already agreed to be closely monitored. The guy asked if they had checked the SUV to see if all the mini-missiles were full. The girl said that everything was ready. The young man said it was great. Then he ordered to get some water because he wanted to take a bath. Tomorrow, with the death of this little tramp, his father's painstaking plan would be completed. The day after tomorrow, even if something serious happens, no one will think that their family had anything to do with her death. Why train to become an elementalist? You can just kill a couple of small tramps, those who stand in the way of his becoming the strongest. After which he exclaimed that even if there were 1,000 or 10,000, they would still die. The next day, at the refugee department, the girl said that there were so many people around and they were all armed. Plus, they were wearing armor. Why don't they wear all this? Sin explained that the reason is that this demonstrates to the enemy that a person is weak and thereby weakens his vigilance. In this way, you can take the enemy by surprise. I thought to myself that after this, as I trained all night yesterday, I had achieved 93% fusion of the divine wind seal so that I would soon become a 1-star wind master. If he remembers correctly, today Saiwan will try to kill his sister. This time, Feng will not let this happen. Today, his task is to kill Lin. If he doesn't die, then Ju will always be in danger, and even if the guy becomes an elementalist, this person will not disappear anywhere. And after his death, the next step would be to get rid of his entire family. The captain exclaimed that now everyone will be divided into groups, each of 10 people. The leader will be a genetic warrior. Then everyone will be sent to Area C-22 and will wait for orders from the chief. All those present can choose the composition of their team independently, at their own discretion. Suddenly, a man approached our hero and told him to come with him. The guy asked if he could go with his sister. He replied that I would forget. Patrolling is a risky business. Who would want to take such a small girl with them? The little girl was angry that she was actually already an adult. The young man began to reassure her, saying that it's okay. The more they are underestimated, the safer they are. Suddenly, a guy came up and asked if the baby wanted to join him. The girl was surprised by this. When the girl asked her uncle if she could go with her brother, the man replied that, of course, it was possible. From now on, let him be called Commander. Otherwise, he feels old when people call him uncle. His name is He Fen, and he is a level 4 genetic warrior. While his sister warmly introduced herself to him, our hero thought that there was something strange about him. Other commanders went to call the strong guys, but this one immediately called the little one. Something was wrong here. You need to be alert. After some time, they were already less than 10 kilometers from the C-22 air defense zone. The commander ordered everyone to cheer up and prepare to enter the defense zone. Our hero said that his sister is still quite young and not very good at fighting. It seems that this time he will have to ask him for a favor. The man replied that there was no problem. He just wants to take care of her because she's still so small. When he sees the baby, he immediately thinks of his younger sister. She was about the same age as Ju, but found herself among a large crowd of monsters. The young man immediately began to ask for forgiveness, as he did not want to remind him of such bad events. The commander replied that everything was fine. It was a long time ago. Then he held out 2 pistols. He doesn't think they have any self-defense equipment with them, but when they go outside the city, they could face danger. Sin noted that this is a specially equipped pistol that can cause damage to beasts. The market price of this is several tens of thousands of coins. Usually this is not shared, but the commander is generous. After some time, it was announced that all participants had successfully reached Area C-22. The guy said that this is the border defense zone of the base, so let Ju stay close to him. Everyone around was discussing that a government army full of genetic warriors had arrived in the area. Our hero asked what the main task of their patrol was. The man replied that it was actually very simple. They are responsible for recruiting and performing engineering work when soldiers go on patrol. Director Liu suddenly appeared, and the commander of the 8th Patrol Group in the refugee zone said that he had come with a report. Feng didn't expect to meet her here at all. Still, they discussed that they didn't even suspect that women could be so beautiful in shape. While the little girl was admiring that she was beautiful, the guy was thinking that he couldn't believe that he met her here. Siwen hasn't appeared yet, so it's best to stay out of her sight to avoid any scenes. The girl announced that she was inviting everyone to join the S-22 defense zone. She is the commander of the 9th Garrison Regiment, Liu Yan. They will work with them all week on patrol duty. All that is required of them is to obey her orders. Even if they seem stupid, they will have to do it. Let them remember that in the S-22 defense zone, everyone who dares to disobey will be shot. Our hero thought to himself that, as expected from a 1-star elementalist, she is very hot-tempered. It was further announced that all refugee groups were divided into patrol groups based on numbers, ready to cooperate with the garrison to begin the patrol mission. The garrison will distribute engineering shovels, ropes, and other items to the group. The task is to inspect and repair the fortification destroyed by beasts. You need to arrive at the collection point in 10 minutes. 2 hours later, the commander said they were on the outside. Everyone must be on guard at all times. Their first target is ahead. This fortification was destroyed by ferocious monsters. Let them be careful, they can appear at any moment. This is an observation tower, from which you can clearly see the movement of animals. If some animal appears on the horizon, they will know about it in advance, so this is a very important military installation. He will lead a group of refugees and will be responsible for repairing this tower. They will go to the next point. As soon as they finish their work, the guys will meet again. The commander immediately said that he would be on guard and let them begin. We need to quickly finish everything and meet with the patrol. You shouldn't stay here for long, so you shouldn't let your guard down. One of the guys said that the patrolmen had just checked the entire perimeter. There shouldn't be any animals here, so don't be afraid. The head objected that they still do not quite understand all the cruelty of the world. Sometimes people are worse than animals. On the outskirts of the city, there are hostile forces that are hunting people from their city. There are laws within the city that govern them. Outside the city, there are none. This is the world of the weak and the strong. If one of them is careless, they won't even have time to understand how they died. Nobody will care about this. When the little girl said that the world outside the city was so scary, the commander replied that there was no need to worry, he would protect her. Meanwhile, outside the city, the assistant reported that their people had received the signal and the girl's position was recorded. The young man replied that, "Great! The time has come to begin their hunt for which they have been so prepared." Some time later, the brother asked if the girl was tired. She replied no. Now she has the power, so everything comes easy. Suddenly, everyone present heard the sound of shooting and did not understand what was happening. Then they heard stomping. It turned out that a crowd of boars with iron tusks was rushing towards them. The guys didn't understand where to hide from them. It would be possible to hide in those fortifications, but if they were so good, how could the iron tower collapse? While people were shouting that a herd of iron-toothed boars was like a group of genetic warriors, the little girl said that she was very scared. The commander grabbed his weapon and shouted for them to run. He will be able to delay them a little. Our heroes stood next to him and said that they were absolutely not going to leave him here alone. The man shouted that these beasts were level 3. Why are they so confident that they can handle it? Let them quickly run to safety. The guy replied that it was too late. Then the guys opened fire on them, but the bullets did not cause any damage to them, so the animals did not stop. The commander shouted that these guns could not cope with them. Let them step aside immediately, after which he entered into battle with them. The young man thought to himself that this was incredible, as expected from a 4th-level genetic warrior. But no matter how much he fought with them, more and more demonic animals appeared. When Sin asked what they should do now, the man replied that wild boars push very hard. 3 or 4 4th-level genetic fighters might not be able to resist, so they may even lose their fortifications, so it is necessary to leave as soon as possible. Then he shouted for them to run after him, since he knew one safe place. Finding himself at some ruins, the young man was surprised that the herd did not follow them. The girl asked if they were safe now. The commander replied that, in theory, yes. But there is no need to relax too much. They will rest in this place for about 20 minutes. The defense zone is approximately 30 kilometers away. They must be back before it gets dark. Fang, think to yourself that while they were fighting with the beasts, he still didn't see Siwan anywhere. Is my sister really safe? Maybe he's just screwing himself over. But suddenly, a huge armored vehicle appeared with a machine gun on the roof which was pointed in their direction. The young man immediately shouted that he had finally found this little girl. Our hero stated that he did appear. So it was Lin who scared the wild boars. The little girl began to run towards him and shout that this was a man from the defense zone. He came to help them. Our hero blocked her path with his hand and told her not to come near him under any circumstances. Siwan hissed that a bunch of rogues without combat power were patrolling outside the safe zone and encountered a group of ferocious beasts. Therefore, even if this girl dies, no one will doubt the incredible death. Then he laughed loudly and opened fire. While the guys tried to hide, the distraught young man shouted that she must die. He wants his father to finally understand that his son, not of mediocrity, can solve all the problems himself. Lin is no worse than his brother and can also do a lot of things. Our hero told the little girl to listen to him carefully. Then he began to whisper something in her ear, after which he shouted for the commander to take care of his little sister and run somewhere. The man did not understand what he was about to do. The young man shouted back, "How could Faye ask, of course, to destroy this abomination?" The young man laughed and asked that he really wanted to die prematurely, after which he began to shoot even more often. But the young man very deftly dodged all the bullets and not one could reach the target. Siwan didn't understand how he could move so fast. Isn't he an ordinary person? The girl replied that this was false information. His skill is at least a 4th-level genetic warrior. The gentleman hissed that it didn't matter. He'll still smear it. Then he began to launch mini-missiles. The secretary shouted that it was too close. They may explode with him. The guy yelled at her to shut her mouth because he didn't care. Our hero noted that he was spitting some kind of pathetic rockets. This way he can't be harmed. Then, using his abilities, he made the missiles collide above his head and explode. The attackers were shocked by what just happened, as they did not expect it at all. The commander admired that his wind skill was excellent. Is he really a novice elementalist? Ju didn't understand when her brother managed to become so strong. Bei, who was watching everything from the side, realized that things could not be worse. The second son is in danger. When the guy heard that they were starting to get ready to escape, he shouted loudly that they wouldn't be able to do this. Saya reported that the car couldn't move. It's crazy how a beginner elementalist can be so powerful. Our hero, who was beside himself with rage, pulled the armored car towards him with all his might. He can't let them go at all. Saiwon must die right here and right now. While the secretary was screaming that the car was out of control, the young man told her to drop everything and just jump. Then Sin delivered a powerful blow to the car, but the enemy managed to jump out of it in time. Lying on the ground, the young man wondered what was going on. How could it all go wrong? After which he began to lament that there was no need to approach him. He has his reasons. Let him forgive him. He won't go anywhere near them again. Feng snorted. How can he forgive him? If Lin had been in his place, Ju would have spared him too. The young man was shocked that he knew him. Do they really know each other or have met before? Our hero replied that of course he knows. He is his enemy from another universe. Saiwon babbled that he didn't understand what he was talking about. I hit my head or something. Suddenly, the commander took his sister hostage and shouted that if he did not want her to die, then he should stop all this. Sin replied that he knew that the commander of the patrol group was sent here by Lin. The man was confused, released the girl and asked why he then entrusted Ju to him. Suddenly, the little girl kicked him with all her might, so much so that he flew into the wall. The guy didn't understand what was happening. Is this girl really a difficult person too? Level 4 genetic warriors are no match for her, which means she is also an elementalist. Our hero asked if he understood why he was sure that the sister next to him would not suffer. Tiny said that when her brother said he was a traitor, she couldn't believe it. Ju trusted him, but he turned out to be a disgusting person. The man stated that she is also a difficult person. So okay, let him shoot already. He urgently needed money to save his daughter. She's still so young, but God doomed her to terrible suffering due to a serious illness. This is all his fault. The man must pay for what he did, so let the girl finish what she started. While the little girl hesitated, the commander blew himself up and swung at her. Ju could not understand what was happening since she could not even move from her spot. His older brother arrived in time to help and attacked him with his abilities and sword, after which the young man asked why the girl did not kill him. It should have worked out anyway. Let the little one remember it once and for all. The world is complex and cruel, and in order to survive in it, you cannot trust anyone. Then he said that it would be somehow uncivilized of him to just up and leave. After all, he had come such a long way to give him his head. Sin would be ignorant if he did not accept such a gift. The young man shouted that please, there is no need to kill him, let him have mercy. Suddenly, Bei appeared and shouted for him to stop. There is no need to touch the second son. After which I decided to use a technique. An earthen dragon castle and huge stems began to sprout around our hero. The plants wanted to grab the young man, but he managed to quickly jump to the side. After which, an attempt was made to attack the green dragon, namely with a deadly plexus. Feng didn't have time to dodge this, so he immediately fell into a trap that held him tightly. Saiwon was very glad that the guy came. The enemy will definitely not get out of there alive. Su is a 4th level wind elementalist. While he is here, Sin will not be able to get close to him. Our hero used a bloody bone knife and sarcastically replied that then, if he didn't mind, we could negotiate with Bei. The guys were shocked how this was even possible, how he managed to get out of his deadly skein, after which he fired lightning arrows at our hero. The guy just laughed and asked what he really thought would be faster than him. Are they too slow to be called lightning fast? Then he activated his wind boots and began to dodge. Su didn't understand how this was possible. He doesn't see how the guy moves at all. Maybe this is his strength. And before that, he simply didn't show her on purpose in order to lure him out of the ambush, and he showed himself. The young man flew up to him and with one quick blow took off his head with a blade. Saiwon was shocked as in just a few moves, and in just a second, he beheaded him. He's a mid-level elementalist. It's simply impossible how this could happen. Only a 2-star elementalist can do this. Is that really what he is? He is at most 17 years old. Even her 20-year-old brother could only become a 1-star. Then he fell to his knees and began to beg him not to kill. But Feng replied that he didn't have to try, it wouldn't help anyway. The guy shouted if Sin even knew who he was. The young man is the second son of the Lin family. If you kill him, it will not go unpunished. His father will torture him and his sister to death. Our hero replied that he didn't care. After him, his goal is the whole family. Every single one must die. Now Saiwon was dead. This means my little sister will be relatively safe. But his family won't let it go so easily. They will definitely suspect Feng and Ju. Therefore, there should be no traces left here. He will hide everything in his ring for now, including the car. Next, you need to get rid of this family before they start acting. The young man then asked if she was injured. The little girl replied that no, everything is fine. But my little sister doesn't understand at all why he wanted to kill her. What did she do? The guy asked if she remembered the phone she found on the street. It belonged to Saiwon. He wanted to kill her because of the message she read. It hid some secret information so that she would not tell anyone anything. They decided to kill her. The deal is due to take place tomorrow evening. Let her try to remember. Maybe she saw who the sender was. Tiny muttered what seemed to be written Chu Tong. Don't worry, something special is going to happen tomorrow. Then they will know the truth. Ju asked what if the Lin family found them. They will no longer be able to live here. They will have to leave and look for housing elsewhere. The brother replied that there was no need to worry. Everything would be fine. He knew a person who could help them. The young man replied that yes. This man is indebted to him. Sooner or later, she will still have to do something for him. After some time, the guys explained what happened. The girl stated that they were attacked by a herd of ferocious animals, so everyone fled. But the commander remained. Sin and his sister ran in the other direction to see if everything was right. Our hero answered yes. Then he asked if everyone else had returned. The man replied that only 6 people came back, including 2 of them. There is no information about the rest. The guy sighed heavily and replied that he hoped that the captain and others were now safe and returned safe and sound. The sister thought to herself that his acting was incredible. The woman noted that everyone who returned gave the same testimony. Apparently, this is indeed a common attack by animals. You need to inform your superiors. The man said that it was okay, as long as they were given time to rest, and the task would be postponed indefinitely. Feng said that he needed to talk to Liu Yan. The interlocutor objected that if something was wrong, then they could talk to them. The young man said that the matter was urgent. He must talk to the commander personally. The guy hissed that in the army it is forbidden to go beyond limits. Although he is not in the military system, he must obey military rules. Sin does not have the right to see the regiment commander directly. Our hero asked what level he must be at to meet her in person. He replied that he must be either a junior lieutenant or an employee. The young man handed them a level 4 citizen card and told them to look. The man was taken aback. To get such a card, you need to score a huge number of points. Even the richest people and genetic warriors spend their entire lives on this and never get it. Maybe he is a master of a strong body. How old is he? If this is the case, then his strength is even higher than Lin Tianyan. Sin has already asked if he can now meet with the boss. He was told that, of course. After some time, the man reported that a citizen of the 4th level wanted to see her. He has something urgent, so he wants to talk in person. When the girl asked who wanted to see her, the employee said that it was Sin Feng and his younger sister Ju Ju. The commander of the defense zone S-22 was amazed that this was really the same handsome guy. Why didn't he come back last time and leave her? Let them immediately prepare tea for her guests. Let the guys go to her office. She has nowhere to rush, so there is enough time to talk. My little sister admired how beautiful she was, even better than the last time we met. Now she knows his name. Last time he helped her get a weapon with an 86% gain. She didn't even have time to thank him. The guy replied that these are all minor things, no need to worry. He was just lucky that day. Usually he is not so lucky. In fact, the young man came today to ask her for help. The girl asked what happened. Let him not be shy and speak. By the time he talks, she will have done everything. Our hero replied that it was not that important. He just wants to spend the night with her. The man was taken aback how he even dared blurt out such a thing. It just doesn't fit in my head. Maybe he's crazy. The head of the regiment asked if he wanted to come visit her for the night. The assistant didn't understand why she was blushing so much. Why should she even agree? He didn't even say goodbye to her last time. The guy replied that he had urgent matters then. Could he now make amends? Liu replied that if she promised to do it, then she would certainly do so. He may come tonight. The young man added that his little sister would also be with them if anything happened. The regiment commander muttered that they would be in the same room so they could chat about deep topics. Then he looked at his sister and could not understand what was happening to her. As soon as they got here, she wasn't herself, after which it dawned on him that everyone had misunderstood everything. He just wants to train in her gym. He feels that he will soon move to a new level. This is a breakthrough, that's all. Liu replied that his guts were really on the verge of bursting into the sky. Then she replied that okay, she understood everything. No need to worry, these are little things. I thought to myself that he must be just shy and trying to hide it, but he's doing a bad job. If he really wants to improve his skills, then he needs to find a place to train. But how did he think of finding it in her house? Then she will prepare a soft bed where they can practice. Then she ordered them to be taken to her house so that they could rest first. She has something to do right now, so we'll talk later. When they left, the girl called Xiaoyan over and told her to go to the city right now and buy her a school uniform. The girl objected that she had a wonderful figure. It would be difficult to find a shape that would fit her perfectly, because usually schoolgirls don't have such a figure. Liu shouted that there was too much text. It's okay if it doesn't fit. It will be a little smaller. It's even better. It will be much more convenient to look at her excellent figure. By the way, let him also bring a maid's outfit. The assistant asked in surprise what she was going to do with all these clothes. The regiment commander yelled that the less you know, the better you sleep. Let him go immediately to complete the assigned task. As far as she remembers, he likes innocent girls. For men, the main thing is what is in the bowl, not what is in the pan. Maybe a pretty maid would suit him too. Meanwhile, the young man sneezed endlessly and did not understand what was happening. Maybe he got sick. After some time, they reached her house and noted that it was immediately clear that it belonged to an important person. The baby was delighted that he was 5 times larger than them. The man said that that was all and it was time for him to go. The guy asked if they should be given some other tasks. He was told that rest was the most important task that they must complete without question. He had to make sure the 2 of them were well rested and in top shape. Looking around the house, the young man said that his sister need not be afraid. They are safe. Even if the Lin family wanted to find them, they would not stick their nose into this place. The little girl replied that it was very cool that her brother knew such important people, but they can't hide forever. Sin said everything will be fine. He will now improve his skills and she will be able to get a citizen's certificate in a matter of seconds. That family will not be able to do anything to them, since they have almost no evidence. But this is also a matter of time. The young man then added that in the end, they must be strong. The little one exclaimed that she would also try her best to train her fighting skills. She definitely won't let him down. Then she said that this was the latest 3D combat capsule. There is even room for a second player. They can fight together. Liu Yan is incredible. Sin replied that it was good. She could play. In a few days, my brother will buy one for their home. Zhu thanked him, but said that she wanted to try it now. Our hero stated that this girl is becoming more and more obsessed with fights. Because she is trying so hard, he cannot sit still. Lin Siwan's death could not be hidden for long, and soon his entire family would be able to know about Zhu. They have great connections, so they will definitely involve much more influential people in this. The young man must hurry up and strengthen his skills and elements as soon as possible. Meanwhile, at the main office, the girl picked up Qin Feng's file, which indicated that he had refugee status. Then she snorted that they again did not update the information on time. The speed of work of this refugee department is simply terrible. However, in their city, he was able to become a 4th-level citizen. How did he manage to do this at such a young age? This cultivation talent is definitely brilliant. There is only one such person in the entire city, the owner. In terms of his qualifications and age, he is also one of the richest people. Perhaps another genius has appeared in Yunnan. Besides, this guy is so handsome and he has good luck in gambling. This handsome man belongs to her from head to toe. Suddenly, she was informed that the city lord wanted to make a video call. Could they connect her with him? The regiment commander muttered what he wanted from her again, after which she said to be connected. A man immediately appeared and said that they had not seen each other for a long time. How is she doing? because lately she has been busy working in the defense sector. The girl replied that you need to be honest. Let him tell her whether the old man asked him to call to spy on the military situation. The head replied that the elder was simply taking care of her. He asked him to find out when she planned to return. Liu told him to tell him that she didn't want to talk and to just refuse the assignment. The man objected that he was his immediate superior. How could he refuse? The elder said she would never return. He will send someone and they will simply steal it. In short, his job is to convey what happens next. But this has nothing to do with him. The girl got angry and screamed that this old man was annoying her. She understood everything and will return as soon as possible. Anyway, her father decided to send her on a blind date again. If he had not forced her to do this every day with all sorts of useless officials, she would not have run away from home to a remote city to become the commander of a small defense zone. However, continuing in the same spirit is not the best solution. If Dad gets angry, he will take all her pocket money. Where can she earn enough money to bet on her beloved Yuanvu? The salary of a regiment commander is extremely low. Her assistant entered the office and reported that the mission was successful. Her figure is too hot, so she had to run around a dozen stores around the city before she bought suitable costumes. Liu replied that it was pretty good. Now she is free. If she can get this handsome guy, then Dad will be pleasantly surprised when she brings this genius home. My father dreamed of such a son-in-law. He won't force her to go on a blind date anymore anyway. In that case, tonight she would have to sacrifice something to get this boy. Meanwhile, people in the inner virtual battle room of the S-22 defense zone were watching the little girl. The baby went alone against 3, and her opponents are James, McGrady, and Scarface. The little one is simply amazing. How old is she and where does she get such incredible strength? Half an hour later, its power only increased. It was simply impossible to believe. In response to all this noise, the deputy head of the C-22 zone came, who also began to observe Ju. The man stated that this little girl was definitely a martial genius. We need to find a way to get it. After some time, the baby emerged victorious. She was able to neutralize all 3. Everyone present was shocked. No one can compare with her. The boss will be able to have a good time with her. Then the man asked whose team she was on, let her now be on his. But they told him that they had not seen her before. They also hide information about her. And such data at such a young age is not the norm. They shouldn't take her with them. Have the lieutenant go and check out the 3D combat cockpit she's using. This way you can find its location. Meanwhile, the little girl asked if she still wanted to fight. The spectators were delighted that after so many fights her physical condition was still excellent. The face with the scar she had just fought with appeared immediately. The man asked if she really wanted to try again. Ju replied that she did not want to fight him anymore. His fighting skills leave much to be desired. The man was indignant that she would say such a thing. He was simply inattentive. She has excellent data. You can change the mode and try again. I thought to myself that today I had lost my authority among my friends and should correct it. When the little one asked what mode he wanted, the opponent replied that full power. How about a real fight? Observers were outraged that this girl was only 13 years old. Even if she was a martial genius, her power was not that high. Scar was a level 4 genetic warrior. He would obviously try to defeat her with force. The man asked why she was silent. Was she really scared? If so, then let him admit defeat and leave the ring. Tiny replied that it wasn't that she was afraid to go into full power mode, it was just that it would embarrass him even more. The man replied that she could not surpass him in strength, but he would give her a chance to try. When the regime was changed, the enemy told her to start first. Otherwise, they would say that he was cheating. The girl replied that in this case, she did not dare refuse him. Then she rushed to the attack and it turned out that she had 199 points of combat power. The blow was so sharp that the man did not even have time to react. He didn't understand how this was even possible. Observers were delighted that her combat index exceeded that of a level 4 warrior. Her skills are very high. Who is she? The boss exclaimed that they had a brilliant girl in the S-22 defense zone. If he can take such a genius under his wing, then in the future it will be like cheese and butter. Given the reputation of Commander Liu, she will not stay here for long. Her position will become his. And he will make this girl his deputy. Then his irresistible male pheromones will do their job and she will fall in love with him. They will be a very cute military couple. After all, with her strength and the resources he had accumulated over the years, he could become a division commander. Although this is not enough, he can achieve more. A lieutenant came running and reported that he had found out what kind of combat capsule this girl was using. This is Commander Liu's personal combat capsule, which is located directly in her estate. Meanwhile, the girl changed into a sailor's costume and, when she arrived home, told the handsome man that she had already returned. But there was no answer, after which she noticed that there was no one around at all. Seeing on the board that training was going on, Jan was taken aback that he really wanted to train and not invite her on a date. Wasn't that just an excuse? Looking around, she wondered where his sister even was. Why does the combat capsule work? When the deputy called her, the girl said that work was already over for the day, so they would talk tomorrow. But the man screamed, "Where did the lady find such a strong child? This is just some kind of madness. She goes alone against 10 men in full force mode, and for her, this is not a problem at all." It dawned on the commander that the capsule was working because Ju was there, but wasn't she an ordinary person? Van asked if she could send her to his team. Liu replied that there is no need to talk nonsense. Let him get this worthless thought out of his head. How did he even think of asking for such a thing? The man replied that he thought that she would not agree because her skills were simply crazy. The combat power is quite a bit lower than that of a one-star elementalist. If she were given a top-notch sword, she could compete with budding geniuses. The girl was surprised that she was really so strong. When asked what she really didn't know, the commander quickly replied that, of course she knew. She's actually busy, so she'll call back later. After which I thought that if this girl is so strong, then let her accompany her there. It will be fun. After a while, the little girl exclaimed that she would really give her a combat capsule. The regiment commander replied that, of course. Let him consider this a gift from his sister. The girl carefully asked if this was too expensive a gift. She couldn't accept it. But Jan replied that everything is fine. There is no need to worry about it. Then she asked if she was a 4th-level genetic warrior and what her level of combat power was. The little one carefully answered that it was 199. Liu thought to herself, why so many? As expected of Sin's little sister, she is a genetic warrior. Perhaps these two are disciples of some hermit grandfather. Then she stated that she had only recently started fighting, so she probably hadn't tried many interesting modes yet. Therefore, she suggested that they show her the global combat network. They would have a very good time. When asked what they would play, the girl exclaimed that they would fight, of course. Has she ever played Fight.com? She has no story in this mode, so this is the easiest way to get a lot of money. She will help her. Together, they will earn several hundred million, then they will divide everything 50/50ths. Having heard such an amount, Ju replied that she agreed. Then the regiment commander exclaimed that enough chatting, it's time to start. Let the global combat network wait for them. After some time, finding herself in place, namely in the information exchange area, the little girl noted that there were a lot of people around. The girl said that she had already published an announcement about the game, so they could start right now. The guys were discussing how these games have been so boring lately. They have not yet seen a single worthy opponent. I would like to fight with a real master. Suddenly, a notification appeared that a newcomer under the nickname Yunyan Xiao Ju was making a bet of 10 million coins. The amount was deposited on the platform Room A019. People were shocked. Are children really so brave now? She doesn't even have a record of how it was possible to bet that kind of money. Another newbie who doesn't know the rules. You can't miss this opportunity. The commander thought to herself that these fools thought that Ju was a weak chicken. In 5 minutes, they will already be crying. The little one was indignant at why she was registered with such an ugly avatar. She wants to take another photo. But Liu replied that it was too late. The battle would begin now. After which, a crowd of spectators materialized. Jan exclaimed that the hall would be full. Each game has a maximum of 10 players, then a contender is chosen and the battle begins. The men shouted that they were weaklings, super vegetables that would fall apart very quickly. Let her choose them. The commander stated that they were accepting all 10. 10 million per person. Let them place bets and we can start. Meanwhile, in the training room, our hero's wind element has finally reached the 1st star. The advantage of being a 1-star wind elementalist is the ability to levitate in the wind and fly close to the ground. For this, other elements must receive 3 stars. The guy must become stronger to make his sister a citizen. Let the system show him the current combat power. She was at the level of 1,400 points. It's incredible. It's even better than he expected. When an elementalist receives the first star, his power increases by 400 points, and he was given 500. Perhaps this is due to the fact that he has many connections. With a power score of 1,400, he can break through to a 2-star elementalist. Moreover, very soon he will exalt the element of lightning, by which time his strength will once again soar to the skies. The system reported that the store was automatically upgraded to the 2nd level. 6 new products have been added. These fragments will help speed up the process of merging the seals, but only he can absorb it. There was also a level 5 genetic drug. People haven't even developed it yet, and here it is without any side effects. When it is created, the potion will cost a fortune. Unfortunately, he only has 10 million coins and he costs 50, so he doesn't have enough. Then he remembered the Lin Saiwan and Bai Su storage rings. They could be sold at a higher price. There were a total of 200 million coins on the cards, but the young man cannot withdraw them. The system reported that a function for recycling currency in the store has appeared, and it is possible to recycle money from bank cards. The guy wondered whether this was legal, whether they would suspect him of anything. The program reminded that with modern technology, no one can prove anything if they are willing to try. The young man replied that, of course. It was then announced that 4 cards had been processed and he received the amount of 520 million coins. Our hero exclaimed that he was now rich again. When the system added that it recycles absolutely everything, the guy said to do this with stolen things and corpses in his storage. A moment later, the system reported that everything was ready. The young man was delighted that thanks to this function, covering his tracks in the future would be much more convenient. After which the young man said that he wanted to purchase 2 level 5 drugs. After the takeover, it was announced that everything was successful. He received plus 200 points to his combat power. Sin realized that if his sister drank it, her power should reach 400 points. With outstanding combat talent, she can hold her own against even a novice elementalist. After which I purchased a drive, since Ju will definitely buy a lot of equipment in the future. For example, armor, weapons, and so on. So it would be nice for her to have her own too. As for the seal fragments, he needs the wind god. The elements of lightning and ice can be raised now, but there is no need for them. But the level of fire is normal. If you raise it on your own, it will take a lot of time. Therefore, I decided to take the simple route and said that I wanted to purchase the fragments. Let him give him 3 seals of the god of fire. A moment later, it was announced that it had been absorbed successfully, the seal fusion process being 30% complete. The owner received 1 star, wind and fire mixed. Now he is the world's first elementalist who masters 2 elements. The young man thought that this was even better than everything that had happened before. Then our hero noticed that everything around was on fire. He got too carried away, so the situation needs to be corrected. If he continues in the same spirit, he will burn down the house of the regiment commander, and this cannot be allowed. The flame created by a fire master can reach over 1,000 degrees. After he dispersed it with the wind, the temperature rose more than 5 times. Let the system show the information panel. It turned out that his combat power reached 2,200 points. He had already surpassed a 2-star elementalist. The fusion of 2 elements gives incredible strength. He will even be able to challenge a 3-star. It's better not to tell anyone about this, otherwise panic will set in. There are 3 main levels: 3-star, 6-star, and 9-star. Many are stuck on 1 and 2 stars, never making it to the 3rd. The combat power of a 2-star is 2,000 points, while a 3-star reaches 5,000 points, which is more than twice the power of the 2nd level. Sin knows that a 1-star can easily counter a 2-star, but he has never heard of a 2-star challenging a 3-star. But now he is absolutely confident in his strength. As long as she reached 3-star level, most of the elementalists in the city would depend on him. But after all the purchases, he only had 200 million coins left. It will be necessary to look after another Yuanvu, so you need to get some more money. Meanwhile, the game ended, and the girl asked if the baby liked it. She replied that it was a lot of fun. The commander transferred 640 million coins to her account. The girl exclaimed that this was too much. Didn't she say that they would divide everything in half? Liu replied that she did so. She kept 600 million for herself. The baby exclaimed that they really earned that much in one night. How did this even happen? Yan responded that simple provocations and showing weakness in front of the generals played a role. It's all thanks to her because she is very strong. At first, she played alone against 10 people. Each of them brought them money. Thus, their bet of 100 million attracted the attention of strong masters. Immediately after this, the little one defeated the biggest shot. He had a record of 269 victories. She was able to attract the attention of the entire network. They remained firmly in the rankings and accepted challenges with a bet of at least 100 million. The girls were able to not only rise to 178th place, but also earned more than 1 billion coins. Now more people know about it, there will be more bets and even more money. Zhu replied that she could no longer play because she was very tired. The commander muttered that earning such a sum in one night was incredible luck. Tomorrow, Mommy will go buy resources to move to the second star. The little one exclaimed that her little brother did not have an account on this network, but he was very strong and could win a lot of money. It was he who taught her many techniques. With her current strength, she would not be able to withstand a single round against Feng. Liu was very surprised to hear this. The girl thought that in this way, he could enter the top 10 in the Southern District. If you persuade him to play, it's hard to even imagine how much money he'll take away from there. The guy is not only extremely handsome, but also has amazing talent and invincible power. Even the young man's fighting skills are terribly strong. She simply must make him hers. After which she said that she had not slept all night, so today she would stay at home and rest. Zhu said that she would like to cook something. Liu replied that the entire kitchen was at her disposal. The girl decided that she needed to transfer all the money to her brother. He will know exactly how to use them. When the young man received the notification, he shouted where she got so much money from. The little girl said that she received them in the game. This is a whole network. He and Liu Yan played all night. The guy noted that this is also a good way to make money. Then he asked where the girl was. The little one replied that she had gone to the shower and Zhu was going to cook breakfast. Sin said that after him they would go to the mayor's office. It's time to make her a citizen. It dawned on the girl that her brother had become an elementalist. The young man exclaimed that now she would be an official and the Lin family would not be able to do anything to her. Then he said that he had a gift for her. The little girl was delighted that this was a storage ring. It's great that now she has it too. Our hero said that this is not all. Here is the newest genetic drug of the 5th level. Let him drink it quickly. The girl didn't waste any time and did it right away. After which I felt enormous power. Feng said that there is a testing machine in this house, so why not check it quickly? When the little girl made a hit, the scoreboard showed that her combat power was 400 points. Zhu did not understand how this was possible, because the combat power of a novice elementalist was 500 points. This level 5 drug is incredibly cool. Our hero reported that with 400 points of combat power plus her combat skills, she was now comparable to a novice 1-star elementalist. The sister muttered that she could become a real genetic warrior. She will have the status of a baron. The young man was surprised that she could receive such a title. How does Zhu even know such words? As far as he knows, only elemental masters are eligible to receive such titles. Tiny explained that Liu said that even if you are not an elementalist, but the strength is comparable to it, the government can assign the title after a person passes the test. It's true that it's so complicated that no one has ever managed to do it. The guy replied that this is great news because her strength now is that of a beginner 1-star elementalist. The little girl said that after all he is cooler than her, which means he is stronger than the 2-star one. The young man answered that it was possible. But what is it? Little sister reported that little sister said that if his strength was comparable to him, then he could claim the title of Viscount. Feng exclaimed that this was cool. That is, if the strength is the same as that of a 3-star, then you can even become a count. Theoretically, this is possible, but the difference between 2 and 3 stars is too great. After receiving the 3rd, combat power increases several times, plus a new combat skill appears. The girl noted that it seems that in history there has never been a completely successful transition from the 2nd star to the 3rd. Our hero replied that he knew. I thought to myself that all the 3-star elementalists in the city had a high status. Even the owner respects them. If he can get the title, the Lin family will fear him like hell. After some time, the baby set the table so that they could all have breakfast together. The regiment commander immediately appeared and asked if this beautiful dress suited her. My little sister exclaimed that it was lovely. Absolutely everything suits the head of the defensive zone. The girl came close to Sin and asked what he thought about this. The guy muttered that it was very beautiful. Liu suggested that in that case, she could serve him his breakfast. The young man replied that it was not necessary. Suddenly, Yan abruptly jumped away from him to the side and looked with great surprise at the young man. The guys didn't understand what was happening to her and asked what happened. Maybe something was wrong with our hero. When the stuttering commander said that he had received a star of the element of fire, the guy replied that yes. Isn't that why he is here? She thought to herself that Sin really broke through to 1 star overnight, but he was still so young. His abilities are truly terrifying. The young man really can become one of the best. After which, she said that she had never met such talented people in her life. Even the owner of the city will be worse than him. The little one asked if Lin Tian is not considered the coolest. The girl replied that compared to her brother, it is as simple as heaven and earth. I thought to myself that I had to get his heart and take it to Dad. Let him show off to his important friends. The young man said that they would now have breakfast and leave with their sister. Liu exclaimed, "Why such a rush? Let them stay. They will hang out together. She will give Ju the rank of lieutenant." The little girl was surprised that this was possible. The commander replied that everything here depends on her. Even the owner of the city listens to her. While the guy was thinking that his sister would be safest here, Yan continued to tell Feng to stay with her too. She will come up with something for him. Besides this, there are many other advantages. After all, he's already such a grown-up boy, but he is still shy. Let him come to his sister's room tonight. She will teach him not to be so shy. The young man replied that he would think about this proposal, but now first he needed to eat. The regiment commander realized that it seemed like her heart was about to stop. The feeling of love was too strong. Suddenly the deputy called her. After listening to him for a while, the girl screamed that she would be coming soon. Then she told them to continue breakfast without her, as there would be an urgent will taking place. Ju began to worry that it was because of Saiwan's death. The brother replied that he didn't think his family was sure that their second son was dead, so he thought Yan ran away because of something else. There is no need to be afraid. As long as they are here and leveling up their skills, the Lin will not dare to do anything. Suddenly, a message appeared that yesterday evening the city of Binyus was completely attacked by a huge crowd of animals, which led to great losses. It was repulsed by Allied forces. There is a possibility that Yunyan may suffer from the consequences of a monster attack in the next half-month, so we urge you to take precautions. The young man noted that it seemed that the commander ran away precisely because of this. The sister muttered that Binyus was very close to them. Then information appeared that a very dangerous person was wanted. His name is Chu Chantun. For any clues, a reward of 30 million coins will be given. For capture, 1 billion coins. Our hero was surprised that this man had done such a thing, that they were giving such a huge reward for him. The little one thought his name was familiar. Then it dawned on her that this was the same man who sent the message to Lin Saiwan. It turns out that the crimes of a dangerous criminal who is wanted by the Alliance are connected to the Lin dynasty. The little one screamed that she could hand them over. It will be very difficult for them if people find out that they are working with a fugitive. Lin will be busy solving this problem and there will be no time for them. The guy objected that they couldn't do that. She is the only witness and there is no evidence either. It will be completely useless. On the contrary, it may alert the police. The girl exclaimed, "How can they be? Just pretend they don't know anything or what?" Sin muttered that the thing Chu wanted to give them must be damn expensive. He thinks it has something to do with the beast attack on Binyue. The man is the first count of this city. Isn't that an interesting coincidence? They started looking for him after the animals showed up. He made an appointment at Luohua Mountain 3 days ago for midnight today. It was a well-planned attack to divert attention from something serious. While the girl was lamenting what they should do now, the brother said that he would go to this mountain. Once they receive evidence of the collaboration between the Lin family and Shantun, they can begin to act. I thought to myself that, besides, he was very interested in what he wanted to sell them. He might even be able to take it for himself. The baby immediately threw herself on his neck, began to sob and beg him not to go there. Sin said there is no need to worry so much. The little one did not calm down and shouted that that person was a 3-star fire elementalist. Plus, the people of the Lin family are also very strong. It's very dangerous, don't go there. The young man said that he would now show her a trick. A moment later, the young man simply disappeared somewhere. The girl was shocked. When Fang suddenly appeared and picked her up, the girl asked how this was possible. Did he really have hidden skills? The guy explained that yes, this skill is called icy stealth. He can not only make the body invisible, but even the breath. Ju said that she heard that the skill can only be obtained after reaching the 3rd star, but he only has 1. This is simply incredible. The young man said that Mount Luohua is more than 300 miles away, and the deal will be carried out at midnight, so he must go now. Otherwise, he will not have time. Then he transferred her 500 million and said that he would not be able to go with her for a promotion today. So let him buy the equipment and go for the test. The regiment commander materialized in the room and asked if he really wanted to leave again without saying goodbye. Our hero was surprised why she returned so quickly. It is not forever, it is only for 2 days. My sister will stay here. Please look after her. The girl replied that she should not worry. With her, Ju will be completely safe. No one will dare to lay a finger on her. After which, she warned the young man that it was very dangerous at the moment outside the city. So, let him be careful. He replied that he had seen the news. Our hero asked where he could buy cores of demons of the elements of fire and wind. He needs them for something. Liu asked to wait a minute and immediately started calling someone. The guy thought to himself that he was a master of 2 elements. If he could absorb demon cores, he would grow even faster. The regiment commander said that there was no core of the element of fire, but there was a wind element. Let him follow her to the office. After a while, the subordinate brought what was needed. The girl ordered to put it on the table and close the door on the other side. Our hero admired that this was a late-stage wind demon core, even better than he expected. Its market price is 25 million coins. He can transfer it to her card. But Yan replied that he could forget about the money. Let him consider this a gift from her. The young man objected that he could not accept such an expensive thing. The girl noted that he was so interesting, but okay, let him transfer his money. When our hero asked to hand over the core to him, the regiment commander took it in her hands and told him to try to take it from her. The guy was indignant that there was no time for games now. He needed to hurry. Sue said that she should quickly try to take it away. Then she threw it behind her collar and said that it accidentally rolled under her jacket. She seems to be allergic to it, so let her help her get it quickly. The young man shouted that stop lying. The young man thought to himself that this woman was a complete punishment. He doesn't have time to play with her anymore. Therefore, he abruptly approached her and asked for forgiveness in advance. For a second, it seemed to the girl that he was going to kill her. After a short period of time, our hero left the office with a calm expression on his face. The girl noted that this was unexpected. The guy is very cruel, but she likes it. Sin thought on the way that if this happened again, he would have to teach this woman a lesson. Then he decided to absorb the core while no one was around. It was announced that the wind element had broken through to the middle level of 1 star. It absorbed only 1 core, and the element broke through by 83%. Other people trained tirelessly for decades to achieve this result. The combat power index increased to 2,600 points. If our hero finds a demon along the way and defeats him, then his power will increase even more. Why, I used my special boots and went to Mount Luohua. Meanwhile, the head of the Lin family exclaimed that the 3rd uncle has already arrived. Let him sit down. He has a wet question for him. Chun Yuz, who is a 3-star Earth elementalist, said that he is too serious. If he needs something, let him just say it. Qian Hao replied that he was right. Has he heard about the beast attack on Binyue City? Then he turned to the girl and said that Sung had called a meeting of all the great families to discuss the recently accumulated stocks of goods and trade routes. Therefore, he will not have time to attend the meeting. Let him give the drive to Mr. Chun Yuz. The cousin replied that she understood everything. Then he added that for today's deal with Chu Chun-tun, he would need his help. The man replied that his order would definitely be carried out. The head of the family said that whatever the person wants is in the ring. Let him take care of it. The uncle said not to worry, because she understands that this thing is very valuable, and without it, the deal will not take place. The mountain is far from here, so it's time for him to hit the road now. As Qian Hao sighed heavily, a relative sat on his lap and asked if anything was bothering him. The man explained that this deal was worth a third of the Lin family's fortune. He cannot afford either loss or discovery, and that is why he worries. The girl replied that the third uncle is very strong and careful, so there shouldn't be any problems. Hao countered that Shantun has always been cunning and sneaky. One can only hope for the best. Sayu said that you need to believe that everything will be fine. Then the second son will become an elementalist, and the ice element of the first will become a genius. The man exclaimed that she would be alone in the whole south. This will shock the whole world. My sister said he was amazing. Their family was very lucky that it was their brother who became the head. Hao stated that if their family became the main one, then they could remove the main one in Yunnan. Then they will control the entire city. The girl added that it was correct and no one could judge them for their relationship. The man then asked if there was any news from Saiwan. Sayu replied that not yet. No one can contact him. There is no same connection with Beisu. The head of the family decided that perhaps her son had been in an accident. The situation is bad. Let her order the refugee Zhu to be checked to see if she is even alive. When asked if he thought she had done anything wrong, the man replied, no. Only an elementalist with 2 stars can force Bei to send a signal for help. How can a refugee have such power? The father knows his son too well. He will not allow her to walk on this earth. It is possible that the guys are temporarily unable to call without communication. But if that girl didn't die, then that's a huge problem. Meanwhile, our hero was hunting a demonic beast as he needed cores. After a strong blow with a bloody bone knife, he managed to get what he needed. Now it had a fiery core. On the way, he killed 4 animals, but they were either of the earth element or of the water element. And with this core, his strength will increase. After which, he activated the divine absorption skill. Reports began to appear that the cultivation of the fire element had reached 17%. The guy noted that the level of the element affects the percentage of cultivation. Its main element is wind, and after absorbing just 1 demon core, the cultivation process increased to 83%. The element of fire is additional, so it has advanced only 17%. But thanks to all this, the young man's combat power increased to 2,940 points. The guy can hunt 1 or 2 more demons, and then his strength will increase to the skies. Plus, he has combat skills, so he can definitely resist Cho Chontun. By the time they bargain for the treasure, it will already be in his hands. The plan is being implemented step by step. After some time, he arrived at the point. The navigation system reported that there were many beasts and demons in the area, so it reminded him to be careful. Sin recently met another fire demon. His fire element had risen to the last level of 1 star, and his strength had increased to 3,200 points. Wind demons are rare, so he didn't see any along the way. It's almost midnight, and the young man still hasn't found the intruder. He needs to hurry. Suddenly, he began to hear someone's voices. Someone is fighting a demon. Maybe it's Chantun. The young man activated his icy stealth skill and decided to go see what was happening there. Meanwhile, the third uncle of the Lin family, remaining completely calm, dodged the demon's attack. He was outraged only by how an otherworldly creature dared to attack an elderly man. Our hero looked at this huge monster and did not understand what kind of demon this was. Then I realized that it was a wind wolf, exactly what is needed for his main element. But this grandfather is definitely not Chantun, so why did he come to the mountain in the middle of the night? What is his goal anyway? While our hero began to guess that this was a representative of the Lin family, the man got tired of the demon not leaving him alone, so he pierced him with the help of stems that grew out of the ground. Feng was shocked by his abilities, since this grandfather can easily be called a god. This character is a 3-star mid-level earth elementalist. In any case, no matter who he is, our hero will not be able to compete with him, so he will sit here quietly. He then noticed that a fire elementalist with the ability to fly was approaching. No one except wind elementalists can fly, only those who have reached 3 stars. Perhaps this is Chu. When the man landed, he asked Chun Yue where Lin Qian Hao was. The young man noted that he looked exactly like the one from the news, which means he was the one Sin was looking for. The old man said that he caused such a commotion that the entire Southern Alliance was turned upside down. Because of this, the head was urgently called to a meeting, and the deal was entrusted to him. Then he asked how he managed to send a whole wave of animals to the city. The guy replied that he didn't need to know that. Did he bring what he needed? The old man replied that yes. But what about him? While Sin was happy that he now had proof of Lin's collaboration with Chu, Yue asked to demonstrate what he had brought. It turned out that these were the fruits of the ice god, an extremely rare item. Ingestion awakens the ice elemental talent. An ordinary person can eat it just like that. Our hero couldn't believe his eyes that this was the same legendary divine fruit. This is the only thing on Earth that can awaken a talent for the elements. It is rumored that its value exceeds 10 billion. If Feng absorbs it, the ice element will become a couple of times higher. In addition, my little sister has a talent for the element of ice. If she eats it, she will become an elementalist. The criminal, meanwhile, asked the third uncle to show what he had brought for him. It turned out to be the fruit of the fire god, an extremely rare item. Ingestion awakens the fire elemental talent. An ordinary person can just eat it. The guy thought that he too was the only one on Earth who could awaken talent for the element of fire. Their exchange is equal. If he receives this fruit, his fire element will become much stronger. Chu stated that the fruit is fine, but what about the second product? Where is it? It was the Imperial Fire Slime, an extremely rare item. Helps speed up the cultivation of the fire element as well as quickly thicken the star pattern. Can be taken by an ordinary person. The young man was so shocked that he involuntarily began to utter inarticulate sounds. This immediately attracted the attention of the men, but the guy began to meow and they decided that it was a feline animal. Sin already thought to himself that while there is an opportunity, he should grab it and run. These guys are stronger than him, so you need to be careful. This is not a test. If he dies, he will not rise again. They are both 3-star elementalists. They also don't trust each other, so they don't take their eyes off each other. Meanwhile, the old man said that now that the goods have been inspected, they need to exchange faster. This place is dangerous. You can't stay there for long. After which they decided that they would take the rings for storage at the same time from each other, but they did not know that our hero was sneaking up on them. Just when he got close to them, the previously laid mines began to go off behind him. Taking advantage of the fact that the men were distracted, Feng grabbed the rings and began to run away very quickly. Chu became enraged, shouted who dared to do such a thing, and performed a fiery blow. The attack hit the target, and our hero's icy secrecy began to dissipate before our eyes. Chun Yue hissed that this thief now has only one way out: death. The young man realized that things were not going well, so he took out a bloody bone knife. Suddenly, Chun Tun flew up to him and struck, but our hero managed to jump out of the way at the last moment. This Yuanvu is many times stronger than what he has, so all he can do is get out of here. Then he ordered the wind boots to take him away from here, but he could not even move. The third uncle spotted him and asked if he had robbed a pensioner, and now he just wanted to leave. Sin noted to himself that he could strengthen gravity with his skills. The pressure was very strong. In principle, nothing else could be expected from such a level. Chiao exclaimed that he could not escape from them, and now they would show him where the crayfish spend the winter. Our hero understood that this time he would not be able to dodge, so all that remained was to take the blow. It was incredibly powerful. If he had not blocked the blow, he would have been nothing but coals. Fortunately, he has a multi-element hardened body, and also fire armor is worth it. If it had been an ordinary one, then there would be no bones left of it. The strength of 2 3-star masters is simply terrifying. Meanwhile, Chantan stated that he was most likely already dead. The strength of a mid-level elementalist master should grind him to dust. You can go return your things. But when they approached the place, they saw that he had run away. How did he even manage to survive such a strong blow? Perhaps he is actually an early 3-star master. This is probably true. If it were different, he would not have withstood their attacks. The old man added that his invisibility technique can hide his breath, making it simply impossible to find. But unexpectedly, they noticed traces of blood on the ground and decided to rush after him. Our hero watched all this from the side and noted that they were fools. It couldn't have been easier, after which the young man began to absorb everything that he managed to get from them. If an ordinary person drinks the imperial mucus, it will take him a week to dissolve it. But since he has divine absorption, he can do it in a couple of minutes. The system reported that the fire element cultivation level had broken through to the extreme 1-star Great Circle. It turns out that the mucus not only pumps up the power of the elements, but also star patterns. This is incredibly cool. Now, all that remains is to complete the second pattern, and he will become a fire elementalist. Then he realized that those two would soon come for his soul, so it was necessary to absorb the divine fruits. The system notified that the owner's element of fire had reached a good level, and the element of ice had reached an excellent level. The guy noted that at this rate, in one day he could break through the elements of lightning and ice to the first star. His power will skyrocket again. He will give the one fruit that remains to his sister. She too can become an elementalist. The voices of men were heard from behind, discussing that they could find him. It is necessary to go back and inspect everything there again. Chantun was already starting to freak out and suggested just burning this forest to make it easier. But suddenly, they saw in front of them a young man lying on the ground in an unconscious state. He also had their rings, but it's somehow strange. Wasn't the thief running away from them? He had such an opportunity. Why didn't he take advantage of it? Chu asked what was unclear about this. He simply could not withstand his blow and fell ill here. Even if he tries to deceive them again, this time he will not leave alive. You just need to kill him and continue the exchange. The Fire Master suggested doing this together on the count of 3. Then he started counting. The old man wanted to hit Chantun sharply, but he did not allow it. Then he said that he didn't think that if he dealt with a criminal who was looking for the alliance, it would harm the family. Why don't they take this opportunity to kill him and avoid all this? Doesn't this offer seem tempting to him? Third uncle was shocked that his strength had reached the late stage of fire element. The enemy added that he knew that this is exactly what they would think, so he hid his real strength, expecting this from them. Namely, in order to kill Grandpa with one blow. This was a murder he had planned in advance. After which the guy said that this grandfather is very stupid. Nobody dares to play with him. Then he pointed the weapon at our hero and told him to get up. Stop pretending. When Sin asked how he realized that he was faking, the man replied that the smell of a dead body is easy to distinguish from a living one. Feng added that he didn't think his nose was so sensitive to smells. Chantun then said that apparently the guy could not run due to a serious injury. He didn't even move when they were about to finish him off. Did he really know that he would kill Yue? Our hero replied that, of course, at the sight of such a treasure, who wouldn't want to get it? And he pretended to be dead to give him a chance. In general, he thought that they would fight to the death. Lin was a mid-level 3-star elementalist, and they killed him in just a couple of seconds. In vain, they underestimated him, since he is not Chu Chantun at all. The attacker was taken aback by what he heard and exclaimed that he was even saying such a thing. Sin said that, judging by his reaction, he was right. In fact, it seemed strange to him from the very beginning that the real Chantun was just a 3-star early-stage representative in Binyue, and Lin Qianhao is a 4-star master. If he had come today, the real Chu would have appeared. So he is wondering why he, a 3-star elementalist, went to make a deal with a 4-star one. Was he afraid that Hao would kill him? Much the same way he killed Chun Yue. Feng thought about it and came to the conclusion that it was a fake and the real one was most likely dead. Suddenly, the man laughed loudly and exclaimed that he was an incredibly smart man. It's just a pity that people like him don't live long. Our hero noted that he would really kill him now. His combat power is at least 8,000 points, but his breathing is not like that of a human, but like that of a demon. Maybe it's a skill. After which he said that it seemed like he would really die here. But before that, could he please tell us what is hidden in his fire stick? The man was surprised that there could be something there. The young man exclaimed that yes, they say it's a big secret, even concerns the survival of the entire human race. The fake Chu replied that they had been using it for a long time, but had never noticed anything strange. Xin muttered that he knew absolutely nothing about her. The rival asked if he could tell him what was so special about it. The young man asked whether he would kill him if he told. The enemy replied that he would think about it. Feng said that he should first place it on the ground. It should absorb the element of earth. Then let him take 3 steps back and use the element of fire. Then he will understand everything. The young man asked why he should believe him at all. Everything sounds somehow strange. Our hero replied that since his life was at stake, then why would he lie to a 3-star elementalist? The opponent replied that this makes sense, but how does he know so much? The guy replied that this is connected with his personality. He will understand everything when he takes off his mask. Let him show who he really is, and then he will understand what is happening. The man said, okay, he won't be able to escape anywhere anyway. Then he began to take 3 steps back. Then he began to use the element of fire, but for some reason he felt nothing and nothing special happened. Our hero screamed because he had been deceived. They fooled me like a boy. It dawned on the opponent that he was stalling for time, trying to regain his strength and get closer to the rings. Sin tried to fool him. Let him immediately give up what belongs to him. The young man replied that, okay. He threw the storage rings to him and rushed past him. On the way, he grabbed a fire stick, which was a powerful attribute and would clearly be useful to him. The fake Chu was taken aback by the fact that both drives were empty. Where did his treasure go? Our hero replied that this was a very stupid question. Of course, he took them for himself a long time ago. The man flew into a complete rage and began to attack him, shouting that he would tear him into small pieces. The young man replied that he did not agree with him, so he was forced to interfere. It turned out that the late stage feels different. He won't be able to kill him now, so he needs to run. The enemy was surprised that he was able to block his blow again. How much power is concentrated in it? Our hero jumped high into the air and finally shouted that thank you for the gifts. But it was time for him to go. This all completely infuriated the opponent. He shouted words of hatred and said that Feng should die in terrible agony. The guy noted that he had completely turned into a monster. It was completely unexpected. Who is he anyway, a man or a demon? Perhaps this is the very secret of Cho Chantun. His breathing had reached the limit of 3-star perfection, that is, 4 stars in half a step. Perhaps in this state, the sense of smell, either of demons or of a person, is especially sensitive. It turned out that this is true. An otherworldly creature noticed our hero by smell. He began to chase him and shout that a dead liar could hide from his eyes, but could not hide from his nose. Sin thought to herself that this gorilla is very fast. If they catch up with him, it will be the end. Then he heard the sound of water running somewhere nearby, and an idea came to his mind. If he goes underwater, he can hide his scent. The monster shouted that the guy would not be able to escape and would be blown to pieces. The young man almost reached the stream and felt some relief. But this was only for a second, as the otherworldly creature instantly overtook him. Our hero immediately rushed into the water, trying to dodge the enemy's attacks. The gorilla immediately stopped smelling this liar. He must have run away in the direction of the stream. The young man is too cunning. The man not only did not succeed in this deal, but also lost all the ice god fruits. It's so unfair. You can't stay here because you've exposed your true body. We need to run away as soon as possible. He doesn't want to end up in that organization again. The people in it are not only powerful, but also inadequate. They are the ones who made him such an inhuman monster, but he finally managed to escape and will never allow himself to be caught again. When the enemy finally disappeared, our hero climbed out and noted that fortunately, the bottom was deep enough. I wonder what he is anyway. Only 6-star monsters can have high intelligence, transform halfway into human forms, and speak human speech. Monsters with more than 8 stars can be completely transformed into human form. They are so powerful that they can even destroy an entire area with one hand. However, the opponent has been completely transformed into a non-human form, but his strength is much less than that of an 8-star monster. But the main thing is that he does not encounter this in the future. Now, you can absorb the demonic core of that wind wolf that third uncle fought with. Thus, he reached the 1-star level wind and fire elements, causing his strength to increase significantly. His ice talent is already at its peak. His cultivation speed has increased by more than 10 times, and his ice seal is already at 92%. Don't rush to return to the safe zone. You need to find a place to train for one night and break through to the next level. After some time, the cultivation was completed. Now, he is the only elementalist of the 4 elements in the world. His combat power reached 6,000 points. With the young man's current strength, he can easily deal with any opponent. There are no more than 20 3-star level masters in the entire city. Therefore, if he wants to destroy the Lin family, he can carry out his plans without a drop of fear. Then he decided that it was urgent to return to his little sister. since they could find her at any moment. Meanwhile, Hao's cousin came to Deputy Van and immediately apologized for disturbing them. While the man was answering that it was not difficult for him, an assistant entered the room and said that the situation had become clearer. The girl Zhu, whom Lin is looking for, yesterday she was on a patrol mission. They were attacked by a ferocious herd. Contact was lost with Hefen and 3 other people. She was among the refugees who returned. The girl noted to herself that it means she didn't die, so things are bad. You need to find out everything in more detail. The deputy said this was a routine animal incident and the little one was incredibly lucky to escape death. Lin asked if she could look at the report. To herself, she thought that all the survivors said the same thing, and no one reported suspicious people or things. At first glance, this is indeed the most ordinary incident with an animal, but she knows her nephew. If he was still alive, he would never have allowed the girl to live to this day. Zhu is definitely a big problem. Then she asked if they could show her this girl. She needs to ask her something important. Van replied that, of course. I thought about you that her family is one of the 3 most influential in this city. He can take this chance to improve his relationship with them. In the future, intimacy can be extremely useful. After which, he ordered Zhu to be brought here. But he was informed that this girl had recently been transferred to the head of the mission, and now she was the commander's personal subordinate. So the deputy told the girl he had no authority to call her. Lin asked if he could take her to Liu then so she could ask about everything in person. I thought to myself that this girl was just an ordinary head of a military district. She wouldn't dare refuse her. Meanwhile, the little girl practiced her fighting skills in a special training room. With new armor and weapons, it took little time to deal with all these pieces of hardware. This all goes well with her fighting skills. When her older brother sees what she has become capable of, he will be very proud of her. Suddenly, Feng's voice came and said that she was absolutely right. The girl exclaimed that he had finally returned. Zhu was so worried that it was good that he was safe and sound. The guy replied that he had not seen this little girl for only 1 day, and her powers had already increased so much. Her armor looks pretty good. What is its performance and properties? The little one replied that she was top. The size and height can be adjusted automatically, and there are micronuclear power sources inside, which cost 130 million. It is also very convenient to store, after which I demonstrated how this happens. Plus, it increases combat power by 100 points. With her help, she can defeat a 1-star elementalist in the medium term. She also bought a lot of demonic cores that her brother asked for. The young man replied that she was great and asked if this purchase was worth a lot of money. When the little girl replied that all the money had been spent, the young man said that it was okay. You can earn them again. I thought to myself that the system had restored the fire wand. Plus, there were a lot of corpses of the monsters he hunted, so he had already accumulated almost 3 billion. Who would have thought that it is so easy to make money in this world? They are enough to buy the necessary demonic cores, luxury cars and villas. Then he asked if her promotion to Viscount had been completed. The little girl replied that she had not checked yet, because her sister asked her to run to her first before leaving. When asked where she was, the baby replied that yesterday Liu went shopping with her and bought a lot of strength-enhancing products. Immediately after this, the girl returned and began to practice. Very soon, she will be able to break through to 2 stars in one go. How did things go with the deal? Has he collected any evidence? The guy replied that yes. This time, Lin will be in big trouble. Then he handed her the legendary ice god fruit for her to accept. Zhu was delighted. This thing is worth more than 10 billion. With its help, she will also have the opportunity to become an elementalist. The brother grabbed her hand and said that they would go to the city. We need to buy a few more demon cores, and then they will go together for evaluation. Along the way, he thought that it was extremely important that they first perfect their skills. If everything works out, they will become nobles who can withstand the onslaught from the Lin family. Suddenly, they came across a deputy who exclaimed, "That isn't that little girl with super fighting talent. Baby girl is so fierce." A little earlier, she defeated 10 opponents in the virtual room of the defense zone. What were they even doing in Captain Liu's specially designated training room? Then it dawned on him that this was Zhu. It was no surprise that she was chosen by the team leader as a personal subordinate. He should have thought of this a long time ago. The girl thought to herself that something was clearly wrong with her. Jan couldn't let her get close to her so easily. She was probably being manipulated. Van explained to our heroes that initially they were heading to the head to see them, but since they are here, they don't even have to bother. Miss Lin can ask her any question of interest. The young man was immediately alarmed by the woman's surname. Apparently, the family itself is asking for a showdown. The girl smiled sweetly and told the little girl that she wanted to ask her for something, let him follow her. Her brother immediately stopped her and asked who she was. They don't know her, so why should they go somewhere with her? They are very busy. They don't have that much free time to waste on chatter. So let him get out of the way. The girl was taken aback by this answer and asked how he even dares to be so rude to her. The deputy tried to calm him down and said that this was Sayui from the Lin family who lived in the city. She thought to herself that this guy must be Sin Feng. It finally dawned on my little sister that this was the same family. How could she trust so frivolously? The young man put his hand on her shoulder and said that there was no need to worry. The elder brother will definitely protect her, after which he turned to the girl and said that if she has something to say, then let her say it right here and now. Van exclaimed that this is a very important family in this city. Miss wants to discuss something privately with Ju, so there is no need to interfere. Our hero replied that thank you for the explanation, but as long as he is here, it does not matter whether she belongs to the Lin family or not. The guy won't let his sister go with her. Cousin Hao hissed, "How dare he even resist and interfere? This boy has no idea what he's doing, but one way or another she can't question her right here." Then she asked where their commander was. It would be better if she got to know her first. The young man intervened and said that the team leader was in seclusion and could not receive guests. Miss thought to herself that this refugee is very annoying. The deputy asked why she couldn't just stay here. The girl was indignant that her affairs were very confidential. How could she discuss them here? Let him tell Liu that Siyu will borrow her subordinate and send her back in just 2 days. Van exclaimed that she could take people without the consent of the team leader. The girl answered what the problem was. She's just an ordinary refugee. If the captain wants to object, he should try to discuss it with someone in their family. Then she began to stretch her hand towards the baby and tell her to come with her. I thought to myself that Saiwan's life or death was of great importance. We need to take this girl no matter what. Yan is just a leader. She will not dare to disobey Lin's orders. Our hero pushed the impudent girl with all his might, so much so that she flew back some distance. Then he stated that if she wanted to harm his sister, she was simply seeking her own death. The man was shocked because that girl is a 1-star elementalist and Sin put her down with one hand. The young man turned out to be a master of the element of fire, so young and already at the same level as him. His talent is too surprising and terrifying. Sayu didn't understand what was going on. Isn't he just an ordinary refugee? The information doesn't add up. The talent shown by this guy is stronger than Tianyan. Was it really he who killed his second son? Things are bad. We can't stay here any longer. You need to break the news to your cousin as soon as possible. After which, she began to quickly run away, saying that they would pay for this. Van said they needed to hide. This family is easy to provoke. It won't be long before they send someone to deal with him. The guy thanked him for his concern. When the man left, our hero told his little sister not to panic. Everything will be under control. Then he handed her the ring to keep and said that it belonged to that woman. The girl exclaimed when he managed to take it. Why didn't she notice anything? How did he even manage to do this? Feng muttered that it cannot be called theft, but in theory, there should be a lot of good things in it. Among a large number of things, there was a tablet that could help the ice element improve. He had heard that these types of pills cost 100 million each. Already in the car, the girl discovered the ring was missing. She didn't understand how it happened. That's where most of her net worth was located. Was it really stolen by this young man when he took her hand away from his sister? This guy's strength is simply terrifying. There is no way to take the ring back now. How fast is his hand that he managed to steal the ring without her even noticing it? Then she yelled at the driver to drive faster, as she was in a hurry. I thought to myself that I must definitely inform my cousin about this. Action must be taken against Sin. The little girl asked him if he thought that woman would come for her ring. The young man replied that no. It was enough to scare her to the core. She wouldn't dare go back alone. She has no evidence, so she can only suffer from this stupid loss. Suddenly, the captain's voice was heard, saying that Feng had not returned home all night. What kind of woman suffered such a heavy loss thanks to a young man? Our hero noted to himself that what a powerful force the water element is. It seems that she is already a 2-star master. Then he immediately congratulated her on her breakthrough. The girl was surprised that he noticed and asked if there had been a struggle. She seems to see footprints around her. After the guys told her, the commander got angry and exclaimed, "How dare she take her people whenever she wants? Who does the Lin family even think they are? If they dare to come here again, sister will definitely protect her. This family should respect Yan." The guy noted to himself that she must be good at politics. Then he asked what the strength of the Lin dynasty was. The captain made it clear that their strength in this city is not bad. There are only 3 earls, 2 lords, and more than a dozen barons and viscounts. It turns out that there are a lot of elementalists in their family. Our hero asked who, besides Qian Hao, is another 4-star master. Yan replied that his father was Yuan Kun. There are rumors that they have an old patriarch, and he is currently being retweeted, trying his best to get to 5 stars. Feng thought to himself that most likely all the laws of this city are nothing to them. Even if they kill a powerful citizen who has received a knighthood, no one can condemn them. The little girl asked what she should do if this family really sent someone here. The guy asked why she thought they had to wait here until they arrived. The captain asked if they were going to the city. The guy replied yes. He wants to buy something and take his sister with him to promote his individuality. The girl exclaimed that great. Just in time, she has reached 2 stars and can get the rank of viscount, so they will go together. Then I asked the little girl, how about we go play on the global network again? But she spent all the money on resources, so couldn't Ju lend her some? Our hero thought to himself that the old patriarch was definitely a threat. Even if he and his sister receive a knighthood, life will not be safe. Therefore, you need to increase your strength. After some time, the young man completed his cultivation, and his strength increased to 8,000 points. It is comparable to the late 3-star stage, very close to the Great Circle. With his divine fighting skills and techniques, he is confident that he can defeat the 3-star elementalist. Now, in the Lin family, the only ones who can threaten him are Qian Hao and his father, Yuan Kun. Before this, he ordered his sister and Liu to go to Qin Chiwei, while he searched the entire city in search of demonic cores. Now he has so many of them that he can definitely defeat a 3-star elementalist. He is confident that he will reach the late stage of the 2nd star. But the speed of condensation of the star pattern depends on the talent, so devouring the cores does not affect this. Even for a gifted person, it will take about a month before he can form it. In other words, he is unlikely to be able to increase his strength during this month, but there is no guarantee that these two will not attack them secretly. Especially the patriarch. If this happens, the chances of survival are very low. Suddenly, a system alert appeared, which offered to take part in the mission. If a participant dies, he will be resurrected, but will not receive a reward. Successfully completing the challenge guarantees a reward. Our hero noted that this was excellent. Finally, the divine summon is activated again. He will be able to quickly increase his strength. This test is clearly not an easy one, so if you fail, you will lose the rewards. It is better to prepare well. In the meantime, go see what his sister is doing. Meanwhile, the girl hysterically told everything that had happened. She suspects that the disappearance of her 2nd son is connected to these brother and sister. The man muttered that Saiwon's fate was still unknown. This stupid boy always thought that he was too eccentric towards his brother. He was always strict with him, but he loved him, because whatever one may say, this is his son. All this was in order to harden his character. Sayu said that maybe it's not so bad. Perhaps the young man is still alive, but simply wounded. Hao replied that he would only recognize him as dead when he saw the corpse. Let him find 4th uncle and ask him to bring this Qin Feng to him. The girl objected that this guy was an elementalist, and also a genius. The man shouted that it didn't mean anything. While he is alive, that young man is nothing. Whatever happens, the head of the family will take full responsibility upon himself. Therefore, let him carry out the order. You have to hurry because this guy has amazing talent. If the city lord discovered him, he would definitely protect him, and they would not be able to do anything. When asked if the 3rd uncle had returned, Sayu replied that she still could not reach him by phone. Perhaps he was just delayed. The man hissed at her to leave. I thought to myself that something really happened to him too. Meanwhile, our hero at the mayor's office said that he came for a promotion. The secretary pointed somewhere with her hand and told him to follow her. Then she led him to the site of the municipal assessment Chinchue. The battle was just taking place. His sister was in the ring. The young man did not understand why she had not yet completed the test. Then I saw that her opponent was a mid-level gold master. Even from the outside, it is noticeable that it is very difficult for the little girl to resist him. But still, the baby showed good results. The golden elementalist is known for its strong attacks. In general, it is better not to mess with it. But Ju not only was not going to give in to him, but was gradually gaining the upper hand. It is immediately clear that she has the power of an average star. The audience was delighted. This little girl is not only strong in battle, but also has amazing skills. The judges were no less amazed. The girl is definitely talented. We need to let the town know that they have another incredible genius. The man muttered that according to the information, she was only 13 years old, which meant that she definitely had a lot of potential. Suddenly, the moment came when the opponent almost fell out of the ring. The spectators immediately began to shout that the baby would really win again. But the young man managed to hold on, so he immediately rushed to the attack again, shouting that he had not lost yet. Let this little girl forgive him, but he is not going to just give in to her. But suddenly the judge announced that enough was enough. The judging is over and the winner has already been determined. It was hard work for Xiao Yu, so he can leave first. Ju didn't understand who came out the winner. The man said that the baby won. He congratulates her on passing the Level 2 Baron assessment. The audience screamed that she was simply amazing. This is the most exciting battle they have seen this year. Then our hero approached her and congratulated her on successfully passing the test. Then he asked where Captain Yan was. The little one replied that she met a friend and said that she would be back soon. A little later, the little one was given a medal and told that now it belonged to her, so she should wear it quickly. The old man asked if Sin needed to advance. The sister is now a baron and has the right to nominate a family member to become a citizen. Ju countered that he already is. Now he wants to get the title of mayor. The young man objected that it would be better to get the rank of viscount first. Let him be allowed to practice as Jin Chue, after which he began to demonstrate his abilities in controlling the element of fire. The man was absolutely delighted, as this was definitely a one-star fire master. How old is this child that he managed to break through? The strength is simply terrifying, even comparable to the strength of a city lord. Or rather, he is even more powerful. It was very unexpected that such a genius appeared in their small town. This young man's future is destined to be exciting. Few can fight him on equal terms. Our hero asked if he could get a promotion. The old man immediately said that, of course, after which he began to offer tea, which has a wonderful mild taste. There is also alcohol with ice, with a refreshing taste. When the guys chose what they wanted, the secretary was immediately ordered to bring everything immediately. The young man asked how compensation for promotions was calculated. Chen explained that the upgrade to the first level is 30 million. The second level is 50 million. The third level is 70 million. And the fourth is 100 million. The guy wondered if it was possible to get hundreds of millions for a one-time promotion to the highest level. He bought a demon core and spent all the money. Now there is an opportunity to earn money again. Once he becomes an earl, it will be more difficult for the Lin family to get close to him. The man said that there are many other advantages that they can get with this title throughout the Southern League. Today, there are 7 main alliances on Earth which are the most influential. These are the Southern Alliance, Northern Snowy Mountains, Suzaku, White Tiger, Tsinlan, and Siwanvu. Behind each is a 9-star elementalist. Disputes over rights between them have been constant for decades. If it were not for the common enemy, the Star Orcs, then war would have broken out between the 7 major alliances a long time ago. The guy asked that if he wanted to be promoted to a first-level count, could he challenge at the first, or would he immediately jump over the other? But the man did not have time to answer, as unknown people burst into the room. So he asked who dared to invade someone else's territory. One of them turned out to be a 3-star master with the rank of count, whose name is Lin Fuhei. The cousin of the head of the family immediately pointed her finger at our heroes and told the 4th uncle that it was them. The young man thought to himself that, as the deputy said, Everything happened quite quickly. Chen asked why they came. He has just met a genius who has been a rarity in their city for a long time. Let him introduce them to him. The fourth uncle ignored all this, walked up to the guys and told them to follow him. The guy asked why. The girl started babbling that her brother was an elementalist and she also had a knighthood. He has no right to dictate to them. The man did not understand how this could happen. A 13-year-old girl won the title of second-class baron. The girl was taken aback that she was appointed based on her strength, which means Siwan disappeared because of her, after which she stated that maybe the order was simply planted on her. She shouldn't stay here. She needs to be taken away today. Chen asked if they really knew them. These are the same geniuses he just mentioned. There was some kind of misunderstanding between them or something. The man got angry, exclaimed that it was none of his business and pushed him away with the help of the water element, after which he hissed that he was repeating the last time so that they would follow him voluntarily. The young man stated that they did not know him at all in order to go somewhere with him. Let him go away and not get in their way. Chen thought to himself that this guy had more than enough courage, but he couldn't even say anything when he was pushed. The man was angered by this manner of speech, so he swung his hand and said that the young man was clearly seeking his death. But our hero easily dodged the attack and ended up behind them. Fuhei did not understand when he managed to lose sight of him. Isn't he a one-star elementalist? The old man asked not to harm him. Since this guy is a rare genius in the city, they cannot lose him. Fourth uncle began to lose his temper again and hissed at him to shut his mouth and stop talking nonsense. Then he turned to our hero and said that he would have to go with him if he wanted to die right now. Feng replied that he did not have enough strength for this. Now he will show his little sister what real fighting skills are. After which the man began to attack the young man with the help of the water element, but he deftly dodged. No matter how much the enemy tried to hurt him, he was absolutely unsuccessful. The little girl was delighted with her older brother, but the girl was in complete shock. Chen thought to himself that this boy's fighting skills were amazing. He is more than 10 times stronger than his sister. Then the young man suddenly flew up to this thug and punched him in the side. While the fourth uncle was confused that he managed to get close to him, our hero punched himself in the jaw. Moreover, he was so strong that the big man smashed his head through the ceiling onto the next floor. The man was shocked that a 1-star elementalist defeated a 3-star one. Simply incredible. No wonder he had previously asked him about promotion to count. Feng asked his sister if she had seen everything. The girl replied that this was enough for her to understand how strong her brother was. Suddenly, the man fell from the ceiling and shouted that he could not lose to a boy who was much weaker than him. The young man immediately grabbed the bloody bone knife and easily repulsed its powerful attack. Literally, a moment later, the enemy was defeated. Further resistance was pointless. The guy said that if he doesn't know how to properly attack or retreat, let him prepare to die from his sword. Suddenly, a man's voice was heard ordering him to stop and not make a mistake. Sin noted to himself that a powerful aura emanated from him. His cultivation level reaches the late stage of 4 stars. Suddenly, this stranger is the same old patriarch of the Lin family, Yuan Kun. The man again said menacingly that he asked the boy to put the weapon away. Did he really not hear? The young man thought to himself that he was too powerful. With his current strength, Feng is no match for him at all. But our hero was not in the habit of retreating, so he was not going to do what he was ordered. If he has to fight to the death, he will still do it to ensure his little sister's escape. Suddenly, the stranger laughed and said that he was able to maintain his fighting spirit and not take a step back under his pressure. This is very commendable. Fourth uncle and Chen bowed and greeted the deputy city lord. The regiment commander suddenly appeared and explained that his name was Wei Tin, and he was the deputy city lord of Yunyan City. When the guys realized who he was, they immediately bowed and introduced themselves to him. Drawing attention to the Baron's second-class medal and our hero's fighting skills, the man said that these brother and sister are truly amazing. After which he asked the old man what exactly so serious had just happened here. He then began to explain what happened. He was promoting Junior Sister Sin's title, but suddenly Fuhei and everyone else appeared. After listening to everything to the end, Wei was indignant that beating their employees, pursuing and making attempts on the lives of elementalists, the Lin family was completely out of control. If all the top families were like them, how many people would feel fear and leave their city? For example, a genius like this guy. Won't he be a great loss for Yunyan? In this world, The best craftsmen are the foundation and dependency of the base city. It was thanks to their existence that humanity survived the threat of the Star Orcs and lives to this day. And it turns out that when they meet such a super genius, but he refuses to obey them, they simply want to kill him. Who do they think they are? Who allowed them to behave like this? The girl began to try to somehow get out, but the deputy city lord interrupted her and asked if they had any hidden secrets in the dynasty. Saiwei began to explain that her storage ring was stolen by this Feng. She was afraid that he would not admit it, so she asked her people to come and take him back. Wei replied that this is a serious accusation. Does she have any evidence or a witness? The girl replied that no, but it disappeared immediately after the fight with Sin. Yan was indignant that this was complete nonsense. If she cannot defeat someone, she immediately accuses him of stealing. How does she manage to invent everything so well? The little girl screamed that it turned out the girl had gone to catch her to accuse her of stealing some kind of ring. The man exclaimed that this was nonsense. He was grabbing people everywhere without any evidence. Their family is generally unprincipled. Let Fu Hai introduce him to Qian Hao. He wants to ask how he became the patriarch of their family in the first place, after which he ordered the old man to take Qin Feng properly and in no case should he neglect it. The captain exclaimed that he was even able to defeat such a brute. Isn't he too good? The guy replied that she overestimates him. He was just lucky. The girl added that she wanted to introduce her best friend to them. She is the daughter of the ruler of Yunyan City, and her name is Shangguan Qixi. The young man greeted her and asked why her face seemed so familiar to him. Then it dawned on our hero that this was the same girl he had encountered in a deserted alley. The regiment commander immediately began asking if they really knew each other. The young man replied that he was probably just confused. Yan exclaimed that she was just joking. A friend can't be involved in something so shameful. Sin thought to himself that if her father found out about this, he would poke him in the eyes. Sao continued to say that the guy must have remembered her wrong. Cixi is a very cool beauty recognized in their circle. He can't meet her whenever he wants. Then the girl noticed that his sister had been promoted to second-level baron. The little girl replied that it was still much worse than Yan. She can't be compared to her. Then she asked if she wanted to go gambling today. The captain exclaimed that, of course. Shangguan was surprised that they still had money left for all this. Feng had already asked what he needed to do in order to be promoted to a first-class count. The old man replied that nothing was required. He will apply for the title right now. He just publicly defeated Lin Fuhei, and this is already direct proof of his strength. The guy asked what his promotion bonus would be. The man replied that he had made a big leap, so the total amount would be 1,650,000,000. He would also be rewarded with a villa and a luxury car. The young man was in shock and muttered that happiness had come too suddenly. You may not be able to cope with this on your own. Meanwhile, the head of the Lin family greeted the deputy city lord and said that he was grateful that he had come all this way for his affairs. Wei replied that his job was to discipline his family. But when we talk about such a young genius, this also applies to him. The man replied that he was guilty and would scold them well. Sin added that he no longer wanted to see what happened today anyway. Now it's time for him to go and let them stay here. After he left, fourth uncle asked for forgiveness and said that he had disgraced the Lin dynasty by underestimating that boy's strength. But Hao replied that there is no need to blame himself, since that guy is truly a genius. The big man exclaimed that his talent was simply terrible. In his opinion, he is much better than the city lord. If they don't get rid of it, it will become a huge problem in the future. The head of the family shouted that he didn't care how strong the young man was. He simply must avenge his second son. He doesn't care what the deputy said. If they cannot act openly, they will try secretly. Sometime later, the butler met our heroes near the villa, which will now rightfully belong to them. The younger sister was absolutely delighted, as it was very beautiful around. Could this really be their new home? Yan answered yes. The city is indeed willing to pay to retain talent. This estate is beautiful. The old man said that they were also specially allocated 3 people who would help with the housework. The guy said thank you and asked to convey words of gratitude to the deputy on his behalf. The young man was then presented with a medal that confirmed his title of count. The captain thought to herself that at the last meeting he was a commoner and now he is a count. This young man is incredible. The daughter of the owner of the city also thought to herself that he was very handsome. Plus, such a young count is a rarity in the world. Inside the house, the little girl asked why the floor smelled so good. The girl explained that this is a scented wood floor from the Green Dragon Alliance, fireproof, moisture-proof, and insect-resistant. Yan sat down next to our hero and said that she was returning to the military district. Then she asked if he was free that evening. Why doesn't he leave his sister here and come back and have a good time? Sin replied that she saw what happened today. He has offended the Lin family and the military area is outside the city and the danger is too high. They're safer here. The regiment commander muttered that if it were not for the tense defense, she would have happily stayed with him. If you have watched this far, I am very grateful to you. I hope you enjoyed this video because I put a lot of effort into creating it. I would be very grateful if you like this video and subscribe to the channel.